What's up, fellas? Welcome to Press Pass Live special edition. That's right. It is draft number 77. We are here, the greatest time of the year. I got to see Priest, listen to me, Priest's beautiful mug on my screen. We were talking pre-draft, man. Everybody's hyped. Everybody's ready to go. It's time to bring you a little pre-draft show. That's right. We usually start this a little closer to the draft, but tonight we're going to give you a little press pass live action because we didn't get to knock out a show this past weekend. So no show means we want to knock out some of those things right here, right now with you. But guess what? I'm all alone. I don't know where my buddies are. They need to get here. Dwayne is supposed to be here. Maniac is supposed to be here. I'm giving you all permission to blow those bums up and tell them to get their butts in here. Maniac's probably not going to be here. I forgot. He messaged me right before that the wife made him go do something. And so Dwayne is supposed to be here, though. So hopefully Dwayne will pop in here. And I just want to take a look back. We want to talk about the playoffs in Season 76. We're doing something a little bit different. We got the PS4 remote play up. See if it doesn't crash on me this year. Kind of crashed on me a couple times last year. We're live streaming. We're recording. We got Skype up. Lots and lots of things going on right now. So we'll see how this goes. Let's take a look back, though, at last year. I wonder if it'll give us last year's playoff schedule. I don't think it will. Let's see. It is not. It has me in week 12. That's weird. All right, last year, though, we had a really cool playoffs. I mean, it was one of the better playoffs that we've had in a long time, and it really came down to what I felt like the two best teams in their respective divisions or conferences, I should say, with the Seahawks versus the Bengals. Of course, this was the Bengals' third straight Super Bowl. He had won back-to-back, and the Seahawks finally picked up their first Super Bowl win. Really and truly, it was the NFC that seemed to be the powerhouse this past year. I mean, they had all the better teams, whether you think about the Falcons, whether you think about the Seahawks, right? The Dallas Cowboys are always into that discussion. So there were a lot of powerhouse teams in the NFC, and it felt like that the AFC was the ones that were playing catch-up this past season. And it really came down to a rematch that happened earlier in the season when the Bengals and the Seahawks faced off. And honestly, the Bengals completely blew them out. It was actually a really weird game that none of us, at least I didn't, truly expect. And the same thing happened whenever we got to the playoffs, man. It truly was the Seahawks being that powerhouse team and showing up and taking out the Bengals to win their first OMFL Bowl for season 76. Then we handed out our awards, and everything progressed very quickly as we got to the offseason. But what a playoff 76. Congratulations to Mo and his Seattle Seahawks. Somebody's unmuted. Do me a favor, just mute yourself. And we're going to keep this truck on rolling. Unless you're Dwayne. If you're Dwayne, just say something.
I'm here.
Oh, it is Dwayne. You see? Where you were. My heart was hurting. Where have you been?
Man, I had some fish issues I had to take care of before I got on here.
Oh, fish issues.
I actually lost track of time.
It's always the fish. Well, look, we were just talking about the season 76 playoffs, and so that leads us right into a great question, that because you were one of those powerhouse teams, and then you met up with that buzzsaw called the Seattle Seahawks. So my question that I'd love to hear you discuss, because you got firsthand knowledge, were the Seattle Seahawks the best team this season?
Honestly, I think you'd have a hard time arguing that one. I think he played overall a great season, and as the season got on, further on the season, he got stronger and stronger, and he has the best front seven in the OMFL right now. And he did everything the right way, and I honestly think he outclassed everybody in the OMFL this season.
You can't argue with that, right? Like, he truly had. I mean, you are a defensive guy. You are a great run team that eats the clock, plays amazing defense, forces guys into turnovers, and you really faced off against the team in the Seattle Seahawks that also played extremely good defense, but seemed to have a little bit more power on that offensive side. I mean, this guy has now won Rookie of the Year 2 years back-to-back with both of their rookie halfback 2 seasons ago and their rookie wide receiver this past season. Of course, he was co-Rookie of the Year, but the guy was so good, he also won Offensive Player of the Year. I mean, that guy really lit it up this past season.
Yeah, you sound my Mo. He's always been a defensive juggernaut. And he's always, I say juggernaut. He's just always had a really good front seven. I think every season he's been here, he's had a real good front seven. But this year, to me, and he's always had a real good offense. But this year's offense was different. And when I say different, I just think it's the consistency of it. I think he controlled his turnovers. That always used to bite Mo. He controlled his turnovers, and he took people out of their game. Used to, Mo was going to play his game, and didn't really worry about the opposition. But I think this season he really learned how to take people out of their gameplay, how to make people uncomfortable, and he never had to change his game style. He just kept doing what he was doing and made other teams adjust, and no one adjusted. And he came home with the Super Bowl, the OMFL Bowl trophy this year.
So you bring up some good points that I'd love to pick your brain about. Again, you faced them. They make it all the way to the OMFL Bowl against a guy that you faced before in Cincyburg. These seem to be two buzzsaw teams, but whenever they meet each other, both very dynamic offenses. The Seahawks play a little bit, well, probably a much better defense than the Bengals, but how did the Seahawks truly have the Bengals number this past season? I mean, both of the matchups between these two teams, both in the regular season and then again in the OMFL Bowl, were not even close matchups.
I think it goes back to what you just said. I think it goes back to both of them have just buzzsaw offenses. I think Mo's offense was actually a step above what he usually does. I think Cincy was right there where we expected him to be. I think defenses were separated that. I think he made Cincy uncomfortable, and Cincy didn't have near the room for air as Mo did because he did not have a defense that could that could match the other team's offense the way Mo did. Mo never ran into a team this year that honestly, his defense was overpowered. His offense was overpowered. He was right there with every team. And I just don't think Cincy's defense, as solid as the defense he had, was nowhere near the caliber offense that Mo had. And in retrospect, Mo's defense was right there with Cincy's offense. And I think that's where it came down to is Cincy had no room for error in that game. And you had to play a perfect game. And like I said, he just, it was Mo's day. Mo beat him twice. I think Mo's beat him 2 out of his 3 losses he's had in 3 seasons. That says a lot.
Yep, can't agree with that even more. I think that what's interesting for me is, especially since we're at the draft night, is will teams copy and paste both what the Seahawks and the Bengals did? You have two teams who took dynamic wide receivers, and their rookie wide receivers really led those offenses all the way to the OMFL Bowl 76. I'm really wondering, it'll be interesting to see, do teams begin to copy and paste that? Now, this draft so far, we're like 14, 15, 16 picks deep into the first round doing the pause draft. It'll start live here at 8 o'clock Central, so another 34 minutes or so. You've already seen the top 3 wide receivers go off the board. I personally have had people message me, be like, take the wide receiver. He's so dynamic, but I have Forbes, and Forbes is a Hall of Famer here, and I just didn't feel like doing that. But do teams start to copy and paste that? I think that would be really interesting as we move throughout the rest of this draft and see what teams really are able to do. So I guess another question I'd love to kind of discuss. Now, I know that you're a little bit biased, but looking at how the AFC played out and the teams that got into the playoffs and then really and truly had nobody, gave the Bengals really that run for their money that you would think would happen in the AFC. And then you compare that to what the Bengals did against the Seahawks in the regular season, how that NFC playoffs begin to play out themselves, and then, of course, what the Seahawks did to the Bengals in the 76 OMFL Bowl. My question is, was the NFC the better conference this year?
I think you'd have a hard time arguing they weren't. Like I said, you just had so many top-tier teams. I think if you had to go with the power rankings right off the bat, you have to go with the Cowboys, Giants, Falcons, and Seahawks right off hand in the top 5. And the only one I think you can run in that caliber right now, I think you can run with Cincy. And that's not knocking teams, but those two. And if you talk about the Giants, Cowboys, and even 2 other teams in their division, the Redskins and Eagles, you have 4 teams that can win an OMFL Bowl, in my opinion, out of the same division. I just don't think – I think the AFC is just a step behind right now where the NFC's at. And I think a lot of it is, though, I think you have teams right there, the Seahawks, the Cowboys, the Giants, the Falcons. I mean, you have teams that really come out of the box. I know we're 3 seasons in. I can speak from experience. It's a lot easier to build a Falcons team than it is to build a Jets or, a team like that. No knocking Jets. Whoever takes the Jets can make them a winner. I have a lot of respect for them. It's a lot easier taking the Falcons to be a winner than it is the Jets. But I just think that the NFC is just a stronger one, and I think you got some well-established teams already, and some guys, speaking like myself, you didn't have to tear apart the Falcons to win. All you had to do is add some pieces. And some teams in the AFC, I think you have more teams in the AFC that have to build from the ground up compared to just adding a piece or two to make a champion or a playoff team.
Yeah, I agree. It was a great playoff. It was a great season 76. And to be honest, we've had a pretty smooth offseason. I mean, we did have one owner that we had to cut ties with. Unfortunately, he couldn't seem to play right, and he couldn't seem to get the offseason rules right. And there just comes a time where we have to cut ties. But to take a look back, just to think first through the season 77 offseason, it's been really smooth. It's been pretty quiet, but overall things have went really, really well. And I want to take a look back at free agency. So the way our rules are set up here is we really have ourselves in a place where you have to think through your cap. You have to think through cutting players. You have to think through trading players. You can't just go in and begin to make all of these moves without thinking through it. Because if you do, it's going to come back to bite you. And I hear you that it is easier to build a Falcons, to build a Seahawks, right? To build a team with talent. It is easier to do that. But at the same time, you have to be smart about it. And you guys with these powerhouse teams, you have been smart. And so I want to think back through free agency. I'm just kind of going through the transaction list here. But were there any surprises? There were definitely some big names, some great offensive linemen from the Dallas Cowboys, some great defensive linemen, loaded quarterback free agency. If you needed a quarterback, this was the free agent draft to be able to do that. You could go into free agency. You could find your guy that could carry your team even through the rest of this Madden if you wanted to invest into him. A lot of good running backs, some really good linebackers. This really was a really, really good free agent class. And what I loved about it was there was some guys that spent some money, but at the same time, it wasn't like 1,000 bids, right? Guys were thinking through their cap. They were thinking through who they had to re-sign the next year as they came up. They were thinking through their cap, right? And that is what we wanted to get at. And kudos to all the ownership here. You guys did a really, really great job. But what did you think about the free agency of season 77, and were there any surprises?
Well, I think you said a lot of it is as the rules we have in place free agency wise and re-signing wise paid off this offseason, in my opinion, in a lot of ways. Because, like I said, if you were looking for a star quarterback, you had about 4 or 5 hands down franchise quarterbacks in the free agency that could step in day one and lead you to the playoffs. And you had 4 or 5 more that were borderline to you could start them and build them kind of quarterbacks. But you had a solid free agent market all around. I think you have some people pick up some pieces that they think will put them over the top. You got the Packers signing Rob Gronkowski. I think that's a huge pickup for him. I think that maybe it will get Priest back into the groove he has. We know Priest can
Do
be
you
a
really like that
you know,
pick? I mean, name aside, looking at the player, do you really think that's a good spending of the money?
the amount of money. I wouldn't pay it. It is a lot of money for an older tight end who really bases his game off strength and not as much speed and stuff. So that'll help him in the long run. I do think a 4-year, $50 million contract is a lot of money. I think the Priest is reaching a little bit, but I think Priest is reaching knowing that division is getting better around him.
Yeah.
And I hate to say it like that. That sometimes it's better to make a move, even if it's not the safe move or maybe not the smartest move. Sometimes he knows the lines are getting better. They've drafted well. They had a defensive player of the year. I think defensive rookie of the year all in one this year. I think he's seen Outlaw win 4 or 5 out of his last 6 games. And I think he's seen Bill take a year one team to the playoffs and know that Bill's only going to get better. I think he knew he had to make a move. Only time will tell if it's the right move. I think if it pays off this year and he makes the playoffs, in my opinion, that money's worth. But if it could turn out to be a big bust. I hope you utilize him. I don't want to see, he sure don't need to be a top 2 receiver on your team for FPR reasons, but he needs to be up there getting some catches, especially in the red zone. You need to make the money worth for him. I think you see another good guy. I think, if I'm not mistaken, Zach Martin went to the Bengals.
Yeah.
Is the highest paid, maybe the best lineman in the pre-offseason this year. I think that was a huge pickup. I think somebody who in another team that doesn't need many pieces, um, he just solidified it, made himself stronger. He picked up Martin. He picked up in aging T.Y. Hilton. But if I'm not mistaken, he didn't have nobody bidding against him on that one. He got him for dirt cheap for market value. I mean, I know he got him for $7.5 million a year, but for market value, what he was asking, he got him at a very discounted rate. I think you've seen some teams that the Colts made a splash this year. They signed Llewellyn to a 4-year deal. I think that's a solid one. I think your team only goes as far as your offensive line is going to push you. I'm not saying you have to have $110 million tied in the offensive line, but you need to have some guys that can move and get running the ball. And Big Hurt was solid last year in his short time with the Colts. I think the AFC South is going to have a tough one in their hands with him. I think he rebuilt well this offseason. I think he picked up some key pieces. I think you've seen a lot of teams that just picked up 1 or 2 players and spent a good chunk of money trying to get over that hump. I think you've seen the Cowboys sign Corey Coleman. I know that Maniac is down about everything on his team for no reason at all. He wants to tear it apart. There's nothing. He's a piece or two away, if not a play or two away, from being in the Super Bowl, in my opinion.
Yeah.
And he picked up Corey Coleman, who is a star receiver at a pretty discounted rate, about $7.5, $8 million a year. I think he could help him a long way, especially if he decides to go with the rookie quarterback or Dak Prescott. I think like I said, you got a bunch of players like me. I picked up more rotational players, depth players. I didn't make a huge splash. Some teams came in the playoffs or the offseason did not need to make a splash and just needed a few pieces and you hope that you don't reach and overextend for a player that you don't need. And I think that goes back to what you were saying about Gronk is maybe Priest did overpay. Maybe he did reach for Gronk. Me, myself, I'm a Gronk fan. I like a good tight end, and I think Gronk all around, blocking-wise, catching-wise, is a good tight end. He's going to get paid like a good tight end. But you hope those big splash moves like that pay off for you.
So I do have a player that I want to bring up. So this past offseason, something happened with one of our guys, and he missed re-signs. I don't know how that's possible here in the OMFL because we give you a zillion opportunities to take care of your team, take care of your players. Look, we love him. His name's Brady. Brady's been here for a long time. Brady, if you watch this, you know we love you. But he missed re-signing. And he had a player that hit free agency that were making teams slobber. And then he just comes right out and he goes and gets his guy. And we're talking about middle linebacker Krause. I accidentally hit my button. He signs him to a 4-year, $71.7 million contract. I mean, that's a little bit of a money. Like that is a lot of money to tie up into one player. Did you check this guy out? What are your thoughts about Krause? Was this money well spent to keep a player that he had invested so much into?
I love a hard-hitting defensive guy. I love it. I was a big fan of this guy. Ever since he was drafted, I wanted him. If I'd had a pick high enough to pick him that first year when he came out, I'd have picked him. But it's definitely a reach. And I like I said, I love a good defensive guy. You got to have a solid middle linebacker to anchor your defense. He can do everything. If I'm not mistaken, he's not on the super fast side. But you're talking about a guy 91 hit power, 86 block shed, 99 play rec, 97 pursuit. You're talking about a guy who can do everything on defense. But the man, pay him an average of 17, give or take a little bit million. He's gonna come out and he's gonna be your third highest player on your team this year.
Crazy.
And I just man, at 28 years old and you're giving somebody that much money. I know that we were just talking about him giving Gronk that, but there's a big difference between 71 million and 40 million. A big difference. And in retrospect, that tight end doesn't have his skills and attributes prolong his career longer than Kratos. You're talking about a guy who's probably going to regress a little bit here and there. And I know that speed doesn't drop, but you're talking about a guy who might end up being a 80 speed, 80 acceleration guy at the end of his contract, and he's making $23.5 million.
It really handicaps your team, right? It handicaps what you're doing moving forward. If you miss a couple of off seasons, if you miss a couple of drafts, and you have that kind of money, I get that he's young, but God, that's a lot of money for a guy that I think is replaceable, right? I don't know. And that's coming from a guy. That's coming from a guy. Let me check. Hold on. Before I call myself out, because I'm gonna put myself on the carpet here if I did it. Let me check. Let me get to my team here. We got it live streaming. A lot of people can't see this unless you're watching live, and the stream may go in and out. You just gotta work with us. We're doing the best that we can. I am recording it, so if something goes wrong, I'll make sure that we take it down and put up the recording that we have. But this is coming from a guy who did go out and sign his middle linebacker, who I was petrified that I was going to lose. I really, really, really didn't want to lose Deion Jones, who I got from you and who has played outstanding. It really, I think it's been one of those trades that benefited both of us.
Yes, sir.
Speaking of which, don't forget to accept our little trade in there for our little fourth round picks. But I signed Jones. Let me get to it. Hold on. Let me get to it. It's a little laggy on my end, so that's why it's taking so long. Let's see, what did I give Jones? Who I think is a better middle linebacker, who I don't control, who does play himself, and who just plays really amazing. I gave Deion Jones a 4-year, $39 million contract. So this guy got almost double that, who's much slower, who is a little bit younger, but I just, again, I think he's replaceable, right? I think that is, I don't know, that is a lot of money to be tying into one player. So, look, for Brady's sake, I hope it works out. Brady's a defensive first guy. He plays really well, so I hope it goes well. We got about 20 minutes before the draft show starts here. I'm not going to keep us all 20, though. If we get things finished, we'll take a little pause in the draft, and we'll come back when we're ready at 8 o'clock. D. Wayne, are you going to be able to be with us?
Yes, I will be here all night.
Awesome. It'll be fun because there will come a time where my wife kicks me out of my bedroom. I am rocking my LSU NCAA SEC jersey that 00 got me this past Christmas. So I'm rocking the purple and the gold. I've got my Marlins AAA affiliate who is here in New Orleans, the Baby Cakes. I'm rocking my hat. I'm ready to go. It's going to be a really good draft. Speaking of draft, let's talk about it. Now, we are on pick 17. Let me run you through these picks really quick. And then what I'd like to hear from you is just who was your top 5? Are they all gone? Or some of those guys still left? Who was your top 5 picks? But before we go there, let me go ahead and run you down the draft really quick. We were on pause for most of the day just because people had to work and couldn't get to it. But, man, we got some picks done this afternoon. It was good to get all of that done. Wide receiver LeBlanc goes number 1 to the Cardinals. Middle linebacker Griffith went number 2 to the Packers. Good pick for him. Free safety Huddleston went to my Saints at number 3. The best quarterback in the draft, who I told the Bills to take, and I expect my 4th round pick for that advice. McGee, he goes to the Buffalo Bills. The Cardinals with another top 5 pick. Foster, right end, goes over to him. Pickett, right outside linebacker, goes over to the Jets. Defensive tackle Harding goes over to the Chargers. A little run on defensive tackle here. Didn't expect to see that. Defensive tackle Black goes over to the Bears at number 8. It'll be interesting to me to see how that works out. I drafted a defensive tackle high a couple drafts ago, and he's just been okay at best. It's one of those tough positions to get a lot of bang for your buck with this high of a draft pick. Wide receiver Foster at number 9. I'm a big believer if you need a defensive tackle, if you need one of those picks, trade down from your pick. You can still get the guy you want, and you can pick up other stuff. Halfback McCary went over to the Detroit Lions at number 10. The left end Travis went to the Carolina Panthers at 11. Halfback McLeon went to the Philadelphia Eagles at number 12. Zip, I know that you're on. Good pick there. Defensive tackle Hart went number 13 to the Tennessee Titans. Wide receiver Stevenson, who I think is an LSU guy. I don't know. I could be totally wrong about that, but I know Chaotic was super excited about this guy. He went number 14 to the Denver Broncos. The Colts got left outside linebacker White at number 15. Halfback Middleton went to the Houston Texans at number 17. Wide receiver St. Louis went to the Baltimore Ravens at number 17. There's been a run on receivers, a run on defensive tackles, and a run on halfbacks. All things that I really didn't think would play out this early in the draft. Who were your top 5, and what do you think about the draft so far?
I think it's been a solid draft. I think we've only seen one guy with a slow development, and that's not always a telling story. I think at this point, I think you can he's still a solid player. I can't remember exactly which one I seen had the slow
Yeah, he
development,
was
but
like I
the
think he was the right end, or he was like a top 5 pick, and his stats were amazing. Even though he was slow
the,
development, he was really good.
like you said, his stats were great. Um, he'll be an impact player day one. I do think that the Buffalo going with McGee, I think that was a solid pick. I think like I said, he was the best quarterback in the draft. I think that was a team who I think he really needed a quarterback, and I think he kind of
And he
looked
got a
all
good one.
year and trying to get a good quarterback, and he got one. Another guy who I really like is Heddleson. Is that Heddleston?
Yeah.
Your free safety,
You're
loved him.
you're a safety
Um,
guy, and I'll admit I asked you for some advice. I was stuck between two safeties, and I knew Helderson was the guy I was leaning towards, but you were the safety guru, so I tagged you for a little advice there.
Man, that guy right there, what I would give to have him on my team. He is like a Jamal Adams, Count O'Neill molded player. Uh, Maybe with the play rec and IQ of Harrison Smith. That dude just is a beast. Everything on paper, and I just really cannot wait and also hate to see him play against me this season. But man, you're talking about a guy who's 5'10". I can't remember what his weight was, like 210,
Yeah,
something like that. Running a 4.4 with that, I think he's like 92 hit
91,
power,
91 speed,
91.
92 hit power.
Man, you're talking about a guy who can keep up with majority of receivers, keep up with any tight end, can play in the box. Um, Man, he's just an impact player day one, and I'm almost certain I could be wrong. I don't know I do know your roster pretty well. I stalk you out quite a bit, but I figure he'd be a starter day one.
Oh yeah,
Um, you talking about a guy like him who can come in, just jump in and make an impact. And when you get a rookie like that who is great, who you can build with and start him, you can't ask for more than that. I do think that the Cardinals with LeBlanc, with the first pick, and I know it's easy to pick the first pick is a great pick or a top player. I think he really needed somebody to spread the field. I think he needed some weapons on that team, and I think he got exactly what he wanted. There's one more player who really caught my eye. I can't remember what it was. I do think now this is not him. The defensive tackle that went to the Chargers,
yeah.
uh, Harding. I think he fits everything real well. I think Dawson was ranked 31st against the rush this year, and I talked to him multiple times, and he was really looking to get something to clog that line. And you're talking about a 6'6", 300-pound guy to put right there in the grit and grind of your defense, who had a really high bench press, who is a higher, I think, mid 80s. Block shed, you're talking about a guy who can step in day one. Dawson put in his 23, he's mature. He can put him in there day one. He can sit beside Bosa and learn and get in the backfield and stop the run. I think that's a great pick by Dawson. I think he really made the most of his early pick. I think he picked it. Maybe it's defense side was never a flashy pick to pick, but it's one of those ones you got to have guys up front. I mean, you look at Mo, you look at Andrew, you look at guys who have a front four, Pepper and Maniac, guys who have a really mean front four guys, and it's hard to run against them. And a team that can't run against you is going to have a hard time beating you. And I
Yeah.
think Dawson took a step in the right direction with that pick.
Yeah, I agree. I didn't get to check out some of these later picks, but I've got to go back to the one that you talked about, the Buffalo Bills. Now, look, you have to have an entire draft to help you and to really move forward. I'll say this, and you can, I'd love to hear your thoughts, but I think, in my opinion, this is by far the best draft that we've had since the second draft of Madden 17, which was a pretty loaded draft that was full of offensive linemen that played the entire Madden 17. That was full of like big time playmakers that made it a long way. That was a solid draft. This is a loaded draft from top to bottom. If you need playmakers, if you are looking, you can revamp your team with a solid draft in this draft right here. And I know because I got to watch it, but those first 6 picks were all home runs. I mean, you couldn't look at any of those picks. There was the one guy who was slow deaf, but everything on his stats was amazing. Like you couldn't look at any of that and say that was a bad pick. Those first 6 picks were home runs by those teams. I love what the Bills are doing. So I kind of sidetracked myself in that conversation, but I think that the Bills draft of their quarterback was a home run. McGee is going to be a player for them. He's got enough speed that if he needs to get out of the pocket and make some things happen, if he needs to buy him some time, he can do that. He has a can of an arm. He's got great throwing accuracy. I mean, he has the potential to be Rookie of the Year as long as the Bills take care of him and do the right thing by him and take care of his player stats. He will be a very good player the rest of Madden 18, and I truly think from top to bottom. Cornerback is the one position I don't like in this draft. I think cornerback is pretty weak in this draft. But outside of cornerback, I mean, you've got fullbacks in this draft that can start. You've got starting franchise quarterbacks in this draft. You've already seen 3 or 4 halfbacks go off the list. Look, there's another quarterback that just went off the list there. You've got stud receivers. It's the fastest wide receiver draft from top to bottom that I've ever seen. I mean, this draft will introduce a lot of speed into our league. You better have cornerbacks that can keep up with them. You've got stud defensive linemen. Offensive lineman is a little up in the air, but center is loaded with potential. Tons of centers that can come in and start day one. And then, of course, I think there's some impact safety. So, in my opinion, top to bottom, this is the best draft I've ever seen.
I think it's hard to argue that. I think like you said, I remember that second draft was from last night was just loaded. You see, I think anyone hit the free agent market. Wasn't Cheek? Didn't he come out of that draft?
I think so.
He might be the first one I've seen that I'm sure somebody picked him up. But did he not come from the second draft?
I think he's the first Madden player that since we started doing recreations that we've seen drafted. Hit the age of 30, become a free agent, and we'll probably see him retire this Madden. I mean, that's kind of cool in my opinion.
What's that again? That it cut out just for a second.
I was just saying that Cheek is going to be the first Madden player that we will have seen introduced into this league as a rookie, watch him drafted, progress into his 30s, become a free agency, get picked up, and we'll probably see him retire in this Madden. It'll be the first guy that we've seen do that, and I think that that's really cool.
It was, and I think he kind of brought a new element because he wasn't a super speedster, if I remember right. And I remember he who should not be named used him as a slot receiver.
Yeah.
And he dominated for about 2 or 3 seasons. He was a dominant player. And like I said, he came out of that second draft, and that second draft low. But this draft right here has some game-changing guys. And we've seen guys shell out money to get speed, where you don't have to shell it out anymore. There's a lot of it in this draft. If you're one guy to spread the field, you got to hear. And kind of like you said, man, you got a few guys at every position that could step in day one and play. I think a lot of teams are going to be really excited to get these rookies on the field after this draft's finished.
Yep, it's going to be really good. I personally, after a 3-win season, I can't wait to start playing again. I felt like I started figuring some things out, and I played some guys that were deep in the playoffs really, really well late in the season with 3 starters on IR, 4 starters by the end of the season. So I'm excited to start playing again. I'm itching. I'm ready to get it going. I know the rest of the guys are also. So it's been a great offseason. It's been a great draft so far. We're in pick number 19 on the 49ers. It is 7:52, so we got about 8 minutes before the real live draft show starts. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it down. I'm going to take a little breather here. Dwayne's going to take a little breather. I'm going to mute myself. We'll come back about 7:58. We'll fire everything up. We'll get the stream back up, and we'll get this draft rolling. It'll be a whole lot of fun. Again, I cannot pay attention to anything outside of the draft. And so if you need to get my attention as we go on, or you want to come on and talk about your draft, make sure you get Dwayne's attention. Maniac will be on the show a little later on. So get those guys in here. We'll talk about your draft. We'll start doing interviews probably after the 3rd round. Usually we go the first 3 rounds with just us talking about picks. So many. And then after the 3rd round, we'll start bringing some people in and interviewing you about your draft. It's been a lot of fun. So, Dwayne, thanks for hopping on with me, buddy. We'll be back in about 5 minutes. What's up, guys? Welcome to the OMFL draft number 77. Can't believe it. We have had 77 of these things. It's unbelievable that people have put up with me for that long, man. I am so excited. We got Dwayne in the house. We got about 8 or 9 or 10 other owners, man. It is so good to have everybody here. Dwayne, how is your Monday afternoon going?
It is not bad at all. Been fairly warm today. It's been a pretty lazy day, so I can't really complain a whole lot.
A lazy day would have been nice. It has been a great pre-draft show. Dwayne hopped on with me, and we had a really great talk as we did a small press pass live, looking back at season 76 playoffs and how the season 77 offseason has went. It has been a ton of fun. We covered all of the picks. There's a couple of picks here, number 20 and 21 that we can go, or 19, 20, 21 that we can actually talk about. Hell, we'll even take it back to 18, 19, 20, 21. We'll talk about all those picks, but first, our buddy Priest asked us to take a look at this past season's trades that were done. Now, I have a hard time keeping up with the trades because it's just a lot of things for me to keep up. But Dwayne, you are our trade guru. Give us your top 2 or 3 trades that Priest would like us to talk about.
Well, I think one right offhand, and we were talking about Priest getting Gronk to add to his team. In a trade with the Cowboys, he also acquired an older or slightly aging but still efficient Julio Jones from the Cowboys in exchange for middle linebacker Jake Ryan and a 4th-round pick. I think that's a solid move. I think the way Priest likes to pass the ball and get it down the field, he's picked up 2 big weapons, counting Gronk and now getting Julio, and he gets Julio's big fat contract. I mean, there's no avoiding that. Julio's going to make $17 million this year. This is last year of his contract. Maybe this is a year, Priest is kind of going all in. I think, he's got $27 million tied up between those 2 players. But I think that's a huge move for Priest and for the Cowboys. I think he gets $17 million in cap relief for the Cowboys. He gets a middle linebacker to take over for Sean Lee, and he gets a 4th-round pick to pick up with, like we've been talking about all this speed in the draft. He gets a 4th-round pick to pick up a project receiver.
This has to be the year he goes all in with Julio and Gronk. I mean, this team isn't getting any younger. He still has Aaron Rodgers. I mean, this team's going to get old really, 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 really fast. So this better be the year he makes a run. In my opinion, this was the season to hit the reset. This was the season to dump the older players, to let Aaron Rodgers go, to eat that cap, to reset your cap number, and to go all in on free agency or the draft. You could have got younger this draft. He could have really reset his team, especially with all those young running backs that he has, that offensive line that he's been trying to build. This could have been the season that he hit the reset button, got rid of the age, and made a run in another season or 2 once this youth really took over. I don't know. We'll see what Priest can do. I love Priest. He's my guy. But this one has me kind of questioning.
Yeah, and you did say it. I mean, he has to go all in with that. He has so much money tied into those 2 guys, and they're older. The time clock's running out on them. He's got Aaron Rodgers. I couldn't tell you Aaron Rodgers' age right offhand, but his time's running out. The Packers in general, even in real life, are an older team that are aging. He's going to have to hit the restart button at some point and get younger, but it looks like he's at least putting himself in position to give one last run with these older guys. Another trade that kind of got me was the Browns trading their tight end. It's kind of a sleeper pick. He traded, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name, David Njoku.
That's not
I don't
bad.
know. That was as close as I'm going to get. He got him for the Patriots for a 2nd and a 3rd-round pick, if I'm not mistaken. I think it's a win-win for both sides. I think chaotic, there's always a method to his madness. He usually doesn't give up good guys without a plan already in place. I think the Patriots get a young, fast tight end to kind of rebuild off of, he took over a back-to-back Super Bowl team that he lost a lot. Had lost to Tom Brady, had lost, if I'm not mistaken, I think he did lose Tom Brady. He lost pretty much a lot of weapons, and I think this is one step in the right direction. He's 23 years old, the tight end is. I think he's young. I think you're pretty much trading a draft pick for a 23-year-old established tight end. It's pretty much a trade for a trade. I think both teams are winners here. Browns, Chaotix probably, I would try to replicate his evil laugh that he always does. But there's a method to that madness. He didn't trade away that good player for no reason. Which I don't know if you noticed this offseason, man, it was probably one of the most hectic off seasons I've seen. We had a lot of trades go through. I think another one that kind of intrigued me was Texas trading away their star right tackle, 99 run block, 99 pass block, 99 impact block. He is in the last year of the deal. DJ Sharp going to the Rams. I think the Rams are starting to make moves. I think since he took over that team from Ducks, and it was a unique team to be nice. It was a Ducks only team.
Yeah.
And I think he's trying to make his own mark on it now. He did trade his first round pick for it, but he's got plenty of money in LA. You can say that about Ducks. Ducks was always going to have salary cap room. Well, he has salary cap. He's going to have money to pay that young right tackle. I think it's a big move for the Rams. I think they kind of get to establish and put their own mark on the thing. He's got a long way to go. I mean, you're talking about a team that's got the Seahawks, the 49ers. I'm blanking out here. Seahawks, 49ers.
Cardinals.
You got three teams right there who are solid teams, and you got the defending champion of the division. He had to make some moves, and I think he made a solid move to get better. He was solid when I played him. And like I said, he came into a rough situation. I think he's making the best of it. And trading for a franchise right tackle or me, I'd move him to left tackle and protect my quarterback was the right move, in my opinion.
Yeah, so I think that one of the points you brought up that I think are interesting is the fact that people are not trusting offensive linemen. They're not paying offensive linemen. They're either trading them, they're letting them walk like you've seen what Dallas did. People feel like for less money, even a less player, they can get the same amount of blocking for. I think it's just a weird move in this Madden that offensive linemen don't seem to be quite as important. And I think that the Browns definitely are one of those really better GMs. He struggles with getting the gameplay all put together, but I think that he knows how to build a team, right? He knew that this was a draft to get younger, to find good players, and to be able to get a lot of bang for your buck whenever you trade those away. And so, yeah, I think that it's going to be very interesting to see how this season plays out. Now, I'm going to say this kind of joking and then kind of serious as I see it. So I know that we check all the trades. I know Massimo is top of the top. He makes sure that his stuff is pretty legit and everything is on the up and up. But I'm starting to cringe, I guess, the older that I get here when I see teams like the Texans have, like, what is it, 5, 6, maybe 7 first-round draft picks? Like, that's a lot. And in those draft picks, I mean, I get it. Like teams, can't be here at the draft, and I don't know. I cringe a little bit when I see teams rack up that many first-round draft picks. He must have made a lot of moves to be able to grab all of these draft picks.
Yeah, I think Massimo. Don't quote me on it. I don't have all my paperwork right here in front of me. I know he's out of trades. I think before we get out of every offseason, he's done with the trades. I'm with you. I'm a person. I don't really. I would like to say I'm a great GM, but I would be a horrible GM in real life because I don't build my team through the draft. At least not early in the draft. Which, speaking of that, I just seen Maniac's mug come across the screen, so he's here with us.
Ooh, Maniac! Unmute yourself, you animal.
What's up, boys?
Maniac, did your wife let you off of the chain?
Yeah, for right now.
Well, we were just kind of recapping some trades and kind of recapping the draft. Let's catch everybody up. The draft has started, friends. We didn't even announce that, but we are at pick number 27 already, and so the Houston Texans are going to go.
I'm coming up, too.
Dallas, you better get ready. It's coming up. And actually, D-Wayne, I'm going to let you, if you can, are you around a PlayStation or around where you can see what's going on? I'm going to let you recap some picks. Go 20 all the way to where we're at. Because my pick's actually coming up, and since my picks are important, I want to make sure that I make it.
Well, pick 20, you have Jacksonville and Brady. Pick right tackle Van Pelt. 21, I'll recap these after we get through them. 21, we had what's that, Nate?
Nope, not me. That's somebody else banging their mic.
Tennessee went with left tackle Proctor. trying to protect Mariota's backside on that one. You had the Dolphins going with tight end Bradley.
The Cowboys.
You had the Redskins going with the cornerback. They got number 23 and 24. Cornerback Robinson with the 23rd pick, and they go with Ellington at 24 at tight end. The Texans at number 25. Speaking of a lot of picks, he's got 2 out of the next 3. He went with strong safety Moore, and is a guy who has studied safeties a lot. I know him as a hard-hitting safety. I really like him. I was hoping he'd slide down, but honestly, I think me and Dawson both talked to us that we did not think he would slide past Massimo. 26, we have free safety Dansby going to the Chiefs, the new look Chiefs going into the season. Looks like he's getting a solid player to be in the secondary with him. And the Texans at 27 with cornerback Scott. Let's get a look at some of these picks here real fast. Let's see if any of you guys have uploaded them. If not, I'll just pull up my own homework.
The Chiefs are now on the clock.
There's Proctor. All right, we got just right off hand. We got the Titans with left tackle Proctor. You got a left tackle with 93 strength, 79 run block, 82 pass block, 85 impact block, and a crazy 82 acceleration. Be a hell of a pool guy. That's a solid pick. He is 24 years old. If you had a knock, that would be it on him. Offensive linemen, their regression is not near as bad as everybody else's, in my opinion. I think that's a solid pick at this point in the draft. I mean, you're talking about late in the first round, you get a guy who can step in day one and start, and somebody you can build with. And we don't build upon a lot of certain attributes, and to have a guy that's as solid as he is, 80 overall, come in, he can play day one. Let's go one more.
And he's a guy because he let a really great and amazing offensive lineman go in free agency just because of money wise. I mean, that's really going to help his team in the long term. Maniac, it sounds like you're still with us. Are you happy with that pick?
Yeah, I'm really pleased with his attributes, the way they turned out. Let me pull him up here. I can just read off. He's a 77 overall, but we're talking a big-time strength guy with 86 strength, 86 run blocking, which, they're in Big D. We're all about the run. 79 pass. It needs a little work on that, but 92 impact block right out of the box there. So, I mean, that's going to be really good for that offensive line. For me, especially losing big old Zach Martin and stuff. So he's going to step in and be a starter day one.
The Chiefs have just told Hall to come on down. Let's hear more about
there's a bit of a little run on tight ends here. Now,
every time they watch film on this guy,
I don't know. Tight ends are one of those weird positions that usually in the draft you're not going to see a lot of really amazing, super fast guys. The guy who just went right now, Deion Hall, is one of the faster ones, but the guy can't block to save his life. He's going to struggle with making big catches, and so to me, those are some weird picks. And now you're starting to see a little run on offensive line here, which is pretty loaded this draft.
Yeah, you're talking about Hall. You're talking about a guy who, honestly, at the 29th pick in draft is more of a project, in my opinion. You're talking about he can't make the big catch. He can't block. And honestly, in our league where, within our rules, a tight end can't be thrown to 10 times a game. Somebody with his speed, you really need a tight end who could do everything. We were just talking about Gronk being able to block, catch. You got to have a tight end who can block. You need that 6 offensive lineman down there to block with you and to be able to make some catches when called upon. That's a real stretch. You pretty much drafting a wide receiver at tight end, in my opinion, somebody who can't block. He's just a receiver. He's a speedster. But I do have to touch on one guy, and I know we were just fixing to talk about Dawson's right guard.
I want to hear about
Moore.
Dawson's right guard, too, but...
No, well, okay.
Talk about your guy, but then I definitely want to hear some stats on Huntington.
Yeah, I was just stuck on Miles Moore. I'm a safety guru. If I ever go professional scouting, I want to be a safety scout. I love this guy. He is a slight watered down version of the guy who you picked 3 overall. He's 87 speed, 92 acceleration, but 92 hit power, and that just makes me giggle inside every time I hear that. This guy is solid, 6'3", 222, 22 years old. He is superstar development.
Big kid.
And I think you hit a home run here, Massimo. I think that's a solid guy. And, I think you guys will really appreciate especially in the world of these post routes and these routes in the middle of the field. These guys are going to make them receivers pay for them going in the middle of the field. I'm telling
The
you,
Seahawks
you will
are now
enjoy
on the
having
clock.
that linebacker at safety. That's all I'm going to do. If I get all giddy talking about the safety.
Yeah, and I think that you're right though. Like these guys are going to be powerhouses in the middle of the field. Massimo's one of those teams. Like it's hard to say he's had a good draft. I mean, the guy's had like half of the first round picks. Like you can't really mess that many of them up. But he has. He's drafted really solid. He's really replacing key players on his team. And this is going to be a young up and coming team in the AFC that the Bengals are going to have to watch out for. Right, the rest of these teams are going to have to take notice to what the Houston Texans are doing. They already have that superstar franchise quarterback. He's not. He's going to have to stop
Seahawks
turning
have
the
just
ball
picked up
over,
Fernandez.
but
Adam,
there
what can
is
you
some
tell us
potential
about him?
there.
Setting a
Maniac's going to make
single-game
his
team
pick
record
now,
for
and I'm
tackles
going to
for
let you
loss,
guys
he's
talk for
quickly
just a
earned a
minute while I make my
reputation as a
picks.
fearsome defensive lineman with a devastating rip move. Ross Tucker had him
Uh,
ranked as the top defensive
Well, it
the
looked
lineman
like we
charge
got
in this year's
got to run
draft,
on those
saying there
linemen,
aren't
man.
even
I
many
mean,
good
Union line.
NFL offensive linemen with the quickness and
Go ahead,
footwork
man. Yeah,
needed
go ahead.
to
no, I was
neutralize
just
him
gonna say
one-on-one
that
at the line.
the
Adding
the
depth
run
to
on
the
the linemen and
defensive
stuff
line is
it
always a
kind of
positive. And when you
supports
can add
the
an impact
system
player of
here
his
in the
caliber,
OMFL
you
that
set up
you
your defense
got
for
to have a good
immediate
line.
success.
It all starts with a good line, and if you don't have that good line to block for your running back, your quarterback, and stuff, it's all going to fall apart pretty quick. I just went back on the clock. I forgot I had the first pick in the second round.
I just said Maniac's going to make his pick. Come on,
Well,
man. You got to keep up
Uh,
here.
I know.
Well, I
I
think you
forgot.
can look at those three teams that took offensive linemen. You look at the Cowboys, you look at the Chargers, you look at the Bengals. I know everybody looks at the Bengals' high flying passing attack. Everybody forgets he's a top 5 running team every year too. I think you got to look at all three of those teams really base their offense off running the ball. And I think it's a real telltale. I know Huntington from the Chargers. You're talking about 92 strength, 84 run block, 88 impact block. Only 73 pass block, but I can live without it. Honestly, just what I like. I want to see that run block, and impact block high like that for a team that wants to run the ball. I think that's a solid pick from Dawson. He's 22 years old, run blocker. He's from LSU. I think it's just a solid pick.
Did you just say LSU? You better
Had to,
wash your mouth out with soap, sir.
uh, you see, Nate. Massimo goes defense. Massimo. I'm sorry, Massimo. I got you on my mind tonight. Mo going with a defensive tackle of all teams that has a solid front seven goes
The
defensive
Packers
tackle at
are now on the
32.
clock.
And let's hear about this receiver
Yeah,
that the Cowboys
his
just picked
name's
up.
Willie. That's awesome. I don't like it. I'm going to let him talk about it once he gets to get to him. Just looking on the surface of this pick, I don't like it. I think you've got better receivers. Of course, this is one of those receivers that you just fall in love with the speed. He ran a 4.39 40. He's weak. He's only 5'8". Can't be anything more
Now
than
that
a
he's been
slot
picked,
guy,
Adam,
a
what can you
fourth
tell us
receiver
about
guy,
Klein?
a kick
He's
returner
always
type
been known
of
as a
player.
smart runner, and if you just look at what
Well,
he did
I
at the
just got
All-Star
I just
game,
got
you'd
maddened a
see
little
why he
bit
gets that
because
recognition.
it showed I
Every
had
time
16
he was
seconds
handed
left on
the
the clock,
ball,
and it
there was
just did
no
my pick. So,
indecisiveness as he
Oh,
opened the gap
no.
and didn't waste time reading the
but
box. And when the
I
line
did
failed
have
to
him
open
up.
up anything,
I
he
think I had
still
him like
found
my
ways to get a
5th
few yards.
receiver
As
on
Matt
my
Miller put
draft
it,
board,
he may not be the strongest
and
or
that's the
fastest,
reason why
but
I guess
vision
the
makes up for
CPU took him
any
stuff. But
deficiency.
he's a
Could very
66
well
overall,
become
but
an
he's got
every
some
down
speed,
back,
he's got some
which is
burn. He's a
exactly
little
what this team
small.
could
I
use.
prefer the bigger receivers, but 93 speed, 92 acceleration, 83 catch,
The
79 catch in
Seahawks are
traffic.
now on the clock.
He's not bad. He can probably come in and compete for some slot receiver kickoff return, but he is only ranked 338 out of the draft. So drafted him at 33, so a little bit of a wasted pick because I was on that right guard, the 4th round right guard, and I was fixing to pick him, but I was going to go back to back on the Hogs.
Yeah, you can probably hear the pain in my voice about my pick.
Oh no!
I just took a center Tamal Goldberg? Thomas. I don't know why it's Tamal on my draft sheet. I spelled it wrong. Thomas Goldberg. Yeah, not good. This is my fault for reaching. Yeah, I shouldn't have reached. Uh, 80 strength, 82 run block, 77 pass block, 86 run block or impact block, 72 overall. He's ranked 51. I got him at 35, so it's saying it's a good pick, but it doesn't feel good. That one's going to come back and haunt me. You can't miss on that second round pick like that.
Yeah,
I will tell y'all. I was really shocked. I seen the Packers come up and pick a fullback.
I was going
to
to
start the
say
second
that.
round. But that guy, I don't know if you can get it much better of a fullback. And I know that's kind of early, but he's the #1 overall player in the draft. He's 93 impact block, 77 run block. He is only 78 acceleration, 66 speed. He's 81 strength. He's superstar development, 21 years old. I'm all for. I love having a good fullback. It goes a long way if you want to run the ball. And this guy right here is just a road grader at fullback at 6'3", 250 pounds. But Priest, if you're listening to me, you don't waste him. Run the ball. Let him block for good, and use that. It is a little early of a reach. I mean, I know he's a great player, but use that guy. Use him.
I want to talk about real quick the quarterback. Let me say my board real quick. The quarterback that the Arizona Cardinals just took. I mean, we're what, a fifth, sixth pick, something like that in the second round, and this guy just got his franchise quarterback. I think of a blue chipper type of prospect. I mean, this guy's 6'3". He's 23 years old, big arm. He can throw on the run, really good at throwing short. He's not going to be super athletic, but he's not going to be a bum either. He ran a 4.84 40 and did 19 on the bench press. I'd love to hear if he posts a photo of this guy. I think he got him a player right there.
Yeah, I agree. I think he's going to be probably one of the guys from this draft that's going to be surprising. I think they're in the NFC West.
Another guy that just went right in, Frankie McCool. Let me get you some information on him real quick. Hold on. My computer's messing up. There we go. He was 6'7", 24 years old. A really good block share. Can really get off of blocks. Great tackler. Very powerful. This was the second guy that I almost went with, and then I talked myself out of it, and I shouldn't have. 28 on the bench press, so he's pretty fast. 4'8", 840. More of a 3-4 type guy, which is exactly what I needed. And if he posts a photo of him, I'd love to hear about him. But you know who he reminds me of was the guy who made the Hall of Fame from the Cardinals that I drafted back in Madden 17. I think that he is like a copy, cut, paste version of that.
Well, Frankie, he's an actual superstar. He just posted a picture of him. He's a superstar.
That's a solid pick for Mo Deli. I think it's a good, it's a good start. Building that front four or that front seven up for the Jets is key, especially in that division. And then that's just a solid guy. 87 block shed, 79 acceleration, 6'7", 300 pounds. Man, that is a humongous guy to have up front.
It looks like there's a couple of guys starting to buy into, that whole speed thing. Your buddy Dawson, our buddy Dawson, I should say, just took one of the faster receivers in the draft. But again, I think it's a bit of a reach of a pick. I think there are better receivers there. And for a team that needs playmakers, I don't know. That's a tough pick to have high in the second round.
Yeah, he's a speedster. He's kind of built almost the same as the wide receiver that I picked. But he's actually a little bit faster. He's like 97 speed, 94 acceleration, pretty average on his catch and catching traffic, but decent jump. I think he's got 86 jump. That's what he's posting. And it looked like the Browns had their eye on him because he's cussing him out in the chat. So.
Yeah, I think that's what makes these so much fun is that guys take players a pick before the other guy, and it's like, God darn it, that was mine. I almost had him. He was right there. He's ready for me. I think that for me though, it has been it's been interesting to run on tight ends. I think we talked about this a while ago, but there's been a really big run on tight ends that I just didn't expect to see.
Now, Outlaw made a hell of a pick for a second-round pick, going for DeMarco McDuffie, the cornerback. Um, to my 6 foot tall, 180 pounds, 23 years old. Superstar development, 90 speed, 91 excel. Well, if everybody keeps getting guys like Dawson, 90 speed won't be there very long.
No.
80 man covers, 80 zone, 92 agility. That's a solid guy in the second round. I mean, you're talking about superstar development, a guy who can play a slot corner day one. In a season or two, probably could be your starting corner. That's just a real good pick. I want to give Outlaw a shout out. That was a good pick on Outlaw's part. Real solid guy to help build his defense.
Has there been anybody posting photos of guys that you're a little shocked that, like, oh, wow, he got that guy?
Well, I will say that, we're talking about the tight ends and stuff, that the Eagles just posted up one on the tight end, Christian Bradshaw, I believe, from what I can see from the picture.
A blue chipper, a guy that I really like.
Yeah. Well, he is quick development, 84 speed, looks like 85 acceleration, 83 catching. He's a little bit weak in the blocking part, but, I mean, that's kind of like the Zach Ertz a copycat right there. So.
Yeah, I mean, those kinds of guys, like, it's a little tougher in our league to like, pick that kind of guy and, like, have him be a superstar, because we really try to ask guys to limit how much that they abuse, a tight end. But at the same time, those kinds of guys can really help change an offense, right? They can really help turn things around for an offense and help an offense, like, get over the hump and be able to make some plays.
Yeah, you've got to be able to make some good reads. I know, like in the playoffs and stuff, playing Mo absolutely shut my wide receivers down. I did not have anybody open, and I also struggle because my tight end, I don't have a very good tight end. He's better at blocking, but when it came to getting him out in the routes to kind of relieve some of the pressure off the wide receivers, it backfired on me. And it's good to have those guys there. At least it keeps the defense honest.
Why don't you run through, like, the last 5 picks? I'm just updating my draft board right now. Now I'm actually trying to get a little bit of a head start for my picks, so I keep sending me to waste, and I don't, after blowing that second round pick, I won't blow any more picks. I gotta try to get this right. So I'm spending a second picking a few players and highlighting them so that when it gets to my pick, I can find out who I want. But any surprising picks, or give me the last 5 picks that we're kind of running through here?
Well, you had the Lions go with Josiah Fairley at pick 42, and from the picture that DBL just posted in the chat, that was about as
the Browns are now on the clock.
Bad as a pick as you can get. I don't know how else to say it.
Speed guy, right?
Speed,
wasn't he another speed guy?
85 speed. 93 excel. He is a red zone target, 6'4", 230, 91 jump. There's a reach. I think he's ranked 299th in the draft. I think it's a reach at this point. Honestly, I don't know. DBL might have seen something in him that he thought that might could work out for him. Yeah, he's a project player at the best right now.
The only thing with him that I see is he's 21 years old. I mean, that's young. Maybe he's already thinking about Madden 19. Maybe somebody he's going to carry over possibly. So.
Why don't you guys give me the last, and you may not have any information on them, but what about the last 2 left ends that have went in Parker Lane and Devon Ray? Both of those are what I would call red chippers, like really good players. I like those picks. And honestly, though I think it's a reach this early, the right end Hubbard that just got picked a while ago, he was a guy that I actually marked on my list to at least look at. What about those 3 defensive ends? Anybody posting photos of those guys?
Hubbard's in there, Maniac, if you want to take him.
Yeah. The 6'6", 22 years of age guy from Delaware State. He is a reach. He's actually ranked 236. He's a little bit weak, 77 strength, only 70 tackle, block sheddings at 75. Power moves, he's actually got a pretty good set at power moves, is 84. With a couple more points on that, he should be pretty good on that, but he's going to need some work work in some of the other areas. He comes over ranked overall 69. But he's got 85 speed and 81 acceleration, so he's got a lot of quickness. If he can get those attributes built up for that defensive end, he'll be a monster off the edge.
You know, we we just seen our second tight end, fellas, go off of the board. The Cleveland Browns with 2 out of the last 3 picks here. They took a really good defensive end. I'd love to hear more about him, but he also went with Howard German, the fullback, 6'2", more of a big guy. He ran a 4.97 40, so kind of quick. He did 30 in the bench press. I personally had him marked as not somebody to really look at. I think that there are 3 better fullbacks out there. There are quicker fullbacks out there. There are guys who are a little bit strong or just slightly weaker than he was, but are quicker and bigger. And so that's an interesting pick. I don't know if he's around, but I'd love to hear about his picks.
I think he just posted a photo. He's looks like a 73 overall guy. Runner, receiver type, 23 out of Louisville, 65 impact block, so not very good on the blocking. 72 runs, run block is not bad. 84 agility, 83 acceleration. Speed is at 72, but he is quick development, and Chaotic is known to take fullbacks and stuff like he does this over in the OMFL too. He'll take a flyer on a fullback, build him up, and then trade him away for a second or third round pick for a future draft pick.
I hear you, but man, sooner or later you got to stop trying to build for the what ifs and the trade bait, and you got to build to win now. I mean, sooner or later that has to. If you're the Patriots and you're winning the Super Bowl every year, you could do that kind of stuff. But sooner or later you gotta just bite the bullet and buy some players that can actually help your team with where you're at. And talking about that, I think the Rams are not here. I'm assuming the Rams are not here. It looks like they took the number 1 halfback that was left on the board. And it sucks when you have a team picking that high that was really built for somebody else. It's going to be hard to turn your team around when the computer starts picking all your players. But I do want to go back, and maybe you guys have more details on him. But the Colts just took Carter Pierre-Louis, right tackle, 6'6" guy. I love the fact that he's 22. He a good impact blocker, solid all-around blocker, but a little bit more of a pass blocker than a run blocker. He did 27 on the bench press, ran a 5.03 40, but you know what? He's a tackle, so he doesn't really have to worry too much about that outside of screens. Seems to me as a guy that would be like a red chipper, a red draft pick. Did anybody post anything about him? What's he look like?
I haven't seen anything yet from Colin. He was actually on my draft board as well to possibly look at later on. I was hoping that he might fall through to the 4th round, but he is somebody that I saw possibly moving to left tackle to maybe groom for the future. Again, a young guy, and maybe this is what Colin's thinking about there. Colin's not with the Colts.
Yeah, I was about to say, I think he's with the Carolina. I forget who's with the Colts.
But Big Hurt, Big Hurt.
That's right. And Big Hurt knows how to build a team. But that's a solid pick for an offensive line that I think needs to be rebuilt. Right after that pick, we had the Baltimore Ravens. They took defensive tackle Devin Barlow. 6'3", a big power guy, right? He can be right there in the middle. He did 33 in the bench press, ran a 4.99 40, so sub 5.40 is pretty good for a big man. Decent pick, but again, I think there are better defensive tackles out there. I think he might have missed on some guys here. I really like some of these other guys that are left, but you know what? They're going for strength, right? He's trying to pick that guy that can be that big clogger, especially if he runs a 3-4. And the Browns here are having a lot of these second-round picks, and this is that area. I hear you. He could have took that flyer on a free fullback, I should say, whenever you have a lot of second-round picks. But, man, you do that in the 4th or 5th or 6th round. There's way too many good fullbacks to be taking one this early. I'm interested to see what he goes here. Oh, he goes halfback McClutchin. Let me see what I can give you on McClutchin. He'll probably post some photos of him. Where we at? McClutchin. Here we go.
The
Alan
Jaguars are now on the clock.
McClutchin, 6'1" guy. More of a speedster, 4'4", 140 to 22 in the bench press. Good elusiveness, good juke move. A pretty decent player for them.
Yeah, I think that's a good pick for Chaotic.
The Seahawks are now on the
He was
clock.
also somebody that I had pegged as pretty high on my board as well. This draft seems to have kind of moved towards big power backs. There's not a whole lot of blue chip top end guys that have a lot of speed, but there is some thumpers, and really that was kind of one of the things I looked at possibly going in this draft, was getting a thumper to go along with Zeke. Zeke is kind of the slasher through the tack. He's got the ability to make some moves and stuff, but there's some big thumpers, and there's still a lot of those big thumpers on the board. So it's going to be interesting to see what happens the rest of the way with the halfbacks.
Guys, I'd love to hear your input here, but it seems to be a nice little run on safeties. Safety is one of those weird positions that most of the time you're not going to hit home runs in the draft, right? Safety is somebody like cornerbacks that you move back there or that you pick up in free agency. But a lot of guys are going safeties here.
I felt a lot of disrespect for the safety there, Nate. I'm not going to lie to you. No, I do think guys are, but kind of like you said earlier, though, Nate, I think a lot of guys, I think Walton, if I'm not mistaken, he had at least a B on his hit power. I think guys are starting to realize that, and these post routes, these in routes, these, 10-yard dig routes, if you can't guard them, knock them off their feet, make them drop the ball. And we know that the hit, drop the ball animation, honestly, is probably overdone. I think receivers drop too many passes. But with that being said, if you have a 90 hit power free safety or strong safety back there that can do it, I don't knock a guy for trying to get a safety back there. I haven't got to look at Walton specifically, but just to put out there might be a trend of safeties that keep going here pretty quick.
I do want to come back now. The Dolphins took Turbin, but I want to go look at the Seattle Seahawks pick. Let me just mark this real quick. So Turbin is a super fast guy, 4.38 40. I know the Dolphins were trying to find that speed back. He tried to get one from me last year. He's got all the great things: great vision, good juke move, good elusiveness. Wouldn't be surprised if he turns into a starter. Pretty good pick for them. I also want to go back and talk about the defensive tackle that the Seattle Seahawks just took. Deshae McIntosh, 6'3", 24, a little older, a big power move type of guy. He did 41 in the bench press. This guy was on my list to try to take next. I wanted to put him in the middle of my 3-4 and let me move my defensive tackle over the defensive line. So I like the pick. I don't think he's a superstar. I don't think that he's going to be like that amazing player that makes a ton of plays. But all you needed was a fat dude to stay in the middle and to eat up blocks. And I think the Seattle Seahawks just got better at that front seven.
Gotta love those fat dudes.
That's right. You gotta have the fat guy.
Is he around? Is he around?
I think he is in the chat. That's the second defensive tackle he's picked this draft. I don't know how much richer you can get on the defensive line than he already is. It's scary to think that he can get even better on the defensive line. I did see we were just talking about, running backs being, we have lack of speedsters. I think Kevin and the Dolphins almost just picked, we talked about, and infamously, remember the night that Priest picked Good. He picked him just for speed. He had nothing else with speed. I think Turbin, who Kevin just picked, you're talking about 94 speed, 90 acceleration, 77 carry, 80 juke mood. You're talking about a 5'11", 210 speedster, a guy that can probably come in day one, do kick returns, punt returns, maybe a third down back, a guy that maybe he can build into a good V2. Maybe somebody in that offense who can take some pressure off that quarterback he has down in Miami and can get him to that next level.
So there was a player that was starting to fall that I was starting to hold my breath for that I had marked, and the Raiders just took him. Quadarius Dahlman, left guard, 6'3", 39 in the bench press. I'm still wondering why I didn't draft him in the second round. Look, he doesn't have amazing stats across the board. He's going to need work with his pass and his run block. But this guy was scheduled to go in the first round. You're picking him up late in the second round. Somebody that I think is a blue chipper guy. I'm still questioning why the hell I didn't take him. Great pick for the Oakland Raiders. I love it. Or the LA Raiders, I should say. Or not Las Vegas, whatever they have. I don't know where they're at. You know where they're at. The Las Vegas
Something
Raiders.
Something la la Raiders.
That's right.
Left end, Bantana just went over. Where did he go to? I missed it. The Bengals. That's right. So this was one of those guys that were super intriguing to me. 6'7".
The Giants are now on the clock.
Had really good stats all the way through. Ran a 4.6, 740, 25 on the bench press. Should be a really good all-around player.
Yeah, like they need a lot more help down in Cincinnati. He gets another piece that adds to a puzzle that's almost done, if not completed anyway. It's just a solid thing.
Wow.
What are we wowing about?
Mo and Seahawks, man. That defensive tackle, 78 overall, but he is a quick development guy. 94 strength. I'm trying to look at this little picture here. Looks like 79 block shedding, 81 power moves. By the end of the season, this guy's probably gonna be pushing for a rookie defensive player of the year or something. It's rich get richer.
Ridiculous.
Yep. For a guy who already has the most powerful front seven, it's just gonna make it really difficult. And you're starting to see here that guys are turning their attention to the speed that is left at halfback and receiver. Again, a very loaded draft. I think in the 4th and 5th round, you're still going to see some really good players. We're going to have more and more of those. Oh my God, what did they just pick moments as we go here?
Yeah, that's one thing I always hate. You know, you sitting here watching the draft unfold, and you're like, I had a chance to pick that guy,
right?
Like 10 picks ahead, you know, and I didn't do it. You know, so there's a lot of intrigue with the draft, and it's always what makes it fun.
There has been a run on cornerbacks, but yet I still think what has been the best cornerback coming into this draft is still out there. Now, Harris Scott was a pretty good one. Of course, he ran that sub 4.5 40, but there's another guy out there that I think somebody's going to get them a very, very good player, and we'll just see how it goes because there's still some good players out there. We'll see what can happen. No, I'm not giving any names. But I still, in my opinion, you still have a cornerback out there that I think is really, really good. That is, like a blue chipper type prospect. I think that you have a lot of offensive line. Like there's going to be a run sooner or later on these centers. I think you still have a halfback out there that's going to be a little bit more of that bruiser back that a lot of guys are starting to like. Love the fullbacks. Still tons of fullbacks. There'll be a fullback that'll go in the 7th round this draft. It's going to be a really good player. A couple of really good wide receivers left that I think are actually going to fall to the 4th, 5th, and 6th round because they're not super speedsters. I think that guys are going to start gobbling up the speed, right? That happens. Guys fall in love with the speed. And I think you're going to have some good receivers that are going to fall. And there's still a lot of good offensive linemen that are out there.
Hey, Maniac, why don't you talk about your new rivals running back? You got the Giants picking DeMarco Velton.
Yeah, I'm not happy.
That's a heck of a pickup.
Yeah, the New York Giants there with old Pepper. He's bringing the pepper, all right. This guy, 22 years of age, 93 speed, 94 acceleration. 72 carry, a little light on the carry right now, but someone that he can build. I mean, the speed is the foundation there. Ball carrier vision 81, trucking 77. So the guys got a little bit of both, you know. So juke move 82. This guy's going to be a thumper, a slasher, all the above for the Giants, probably for for seasons to come. So yay me.
I'd love to hear about Chaotic Center. I think that there are better centers out there overall from top to bottom. And this guy's going to be strong like a horse. Did 36 on the bench press. More of an impact, probably more of a run guy than a pass guy. 6'2". But one of those, either home run, great, love the pick, or you know what, not so good. And I find with offensive linemen, it's a catch-22 because Maniac, I think you're one of the big believers that linemen can be easily replaced, but at the same time, this Madden was not like Madden 17 where it seemed like you could pick up superstar offensive linemen throughout the draft if you scout it well. But nowadays, it seems like even first-round offensive linemen are not quote-unquote superstars on paper. Dwayne, just give you a heads up, it's your pick.
Are now on the clock.
All right.
Yeah, I think the transition here to Madden 18, the offensive lineman stuff, I had that mentality going into the offseason and stuff. I was like, I can probably replace Zach Martin really easy. And but when you get a guy that basically when we started the OMFL this year and stuff in Madden 18 and stuff, I mean, he was already nearly a 99 out of the block.
Yeah.
Took care of that right side for me for the first 3 seasons and stuff. And I had a little bit of time there where he was hurt, and it definitely showed my games because he definitely did take care of the blocking assignments on that side. And like you said, it's not as easy to find those superstar development guys. It seems to be, a far and few in between. You can find a solid guy, but you're going to have to work to get them built up. Whereas last Madden, it seemed like, there was a superstar, a quick development guy at every corner.
I don't love the right tackle, Hammond, whatever, that went to the Chiefs. But this strong safety, Lynn, that the Atlanta Falcons has picked up does scare me. So go ahead and talk about it.
Oh, no.
He's just your prototype Falcons safety. He is only 86 speed. It doesn't worry me as much. It used to worry me, the speed thing. But he does 90 acceleration. He's only 73 zone, 73 tackle, 76 pursuit. What it tells me is 90 hit power. You can't buy somebody to knock somebody's head off. I love having depth at that. I will tell a little secret on myself. It does help to have 4 or 5 90 overall safeties on the kickoff, on the punt. It just helps having those guys all around. And he's just a guy I'm going to put in my system. I'm going to build him. And he might even get some playing time at slot cornerback. Because there's nothing like having 3 or 4 90 overall, 90 hit power guys in the secondary on your defense.
I really think we need to. No, I was just going to chime in and say I think we really need to get Dwayne to change his name to the Power Man because.
What do you think the Seahawks do here? Now, this guy, where the hell did he get all these picks? That's number one. And number two, he just keeps hitting home runs left and right.
He goes defensive tackle again. Something's up. Their cornerbacks
are now on the clock.
Nice superstar development.
He's already got like the 2 top cornerbacks, I think, in our Madden league right now.
So he took Denard Posey, a 6'1" guy, so a big guy, more of a man coverage than anything. Still runs a sub 4.540. He ran a 4.449. Did 15 on the bench press, 35, I should say, 35.8 in the verticals, a 6.96 in the 3 cones. So he's going to be super quick, and he just keeps stacking them up. I'm going to let you guys talk about the Hawks, the Redskins, and the Bengals here. This is coming up on my pick.
Good luck, Nate.
That middle linebacker for the Bengals pretty intriguing. I ain't got to Edwards. Let me see what I can figure out about him. I don't think since he has posted anything about him. That cornerback that Mo got is pretty solid. He's not luckily he's not superstar development. He has 90 speed, 89 acceleration. He's already 86 man out of the box.
Wow.
He is 52 play rec, brings down his overall to 68, but we all know play rec at 22 years old is dirt cheap. Man, that guy right there could be a scary guy, and especially a slot corner with a little bit of work could be a hell of a slot corner. And because he's already got little, and I can't remember his other cornerback's name, but they stick to your receivers like glue right now anyway.
Yeah. That playoff game, man, that I played him, I had Julio Jones and then my rookie wide receiver that I had out there and stuff. Throughout the season, I did really well. I passed pretty decently with the rookie quarterback and everything, but that game, it was just a blanket all over the field, and I couldn't get anybody open. And those two guys were just in the wide receiver's back pocket, and this guy he's got here with. So the rich get richer.
That's exactly right. Let's see.
I think I've got two guys that I've got my own, so I feel pretty good. Let me talk about Gee, who just went. Where did he go? He went to the Redskins. A 5'10" guy, 23 years old. Another thumper, a guy that's really good in coverage, pretty good tackler. Ran a 4.56 40 and did 25 in the bench press. He's kind of one of those typical players that I thought was going to go to the Atlanta Falcons.
Dawson wants to know what cheat codes are we using here, because I guess there's some good players coming off that maybe some of us have missed.
Let's see here.
Solid draft, but I don't see a whole lot of the superstar type guys that we're kind of accustomed seeing. Chaotic pick, got a lot of normal development in this solid 68 to 70 range overall, all guys. So interested to see who Nate picks up here.
Well, the guy I wanted is not on my list anymore. You know how that happens sometimes. And so, yeah, I'm scrambling just a little hair here.
Been there.
Like, a lot of hair.
On the hardest hitting guy you can get.
So another terrible pick by me as I scrambled. Yeah, so I took Sean Conti, a balanced 4.3 type of guy, left in 296. So I like that he's a big guy. 70 block shed, which is terrible. 81 strength, which is not too bad. 66 tackle, which means you can't catch the flu. 84 speed, which I really don't care about, and 86 power move, which I do like. Terrible pick for the third round, but the guy that I really wanted was not on my list anymore for some reason, and that sucks because I thought I'd found me a little guy that had fallen, and so here we are.
Yeah,
you gotta love the draft. I'm blowing it, friends. I need somebody to give me these cheat codes you were talking about, because I'm blowing it.
Well, I'm the wrong one to ask. I think we need to ask Mo, and let's see who else has been racking up the.
So right before me, it looked like Miles Thornton went. Let me go ahead and mark him off real quick. 6-foot guy, more of a press man coverage type guy. Kind of do a little bit of everything, but you know why he got drafted. He did do 20 in the bench press, not too bad, but he ran a 4.23 40. That'll get you drafted each and every time. You guys heard about my terrible pick. Middle linebacker Booker went to the Buffalo Bills. Let's see what I can find out on Booker. Not a lot of middle linebackers have went. That's not even a word. Carol Booker. Let's see, 6'1" guy, a thumper, big hitter. That's where he's going to be really good at. Wrap him up. Only ran a 4.7 40 and did 25 in the bench press. So he's going to have to hit the weight room. He's going to have to work that out. But possibly a guy that's going to just be a good thumper for him in the middle.
Yeah, I think the middle linebacker was pretty weak too, at least from the ones that I had looked into myself. I think there is one guy out there that may be a solid middle linebacker, but as far as that, I think the last couple of drafts we've had a guy come out. I think one was to the Packers, and and possibly to the Lions that were just really phenomenal middle linebackers. I don't think we're going to see that this draft.
And now you're starting to see a run on like the second tier of quarterbacks here. But in my opinion, I think it's too late, right? I think that if you didn't grab the quarterback that you needed, now you're just grasping at air. I just don't see you getting a really good guy that you wanted. And then the guy with probably the greatest name that was in this draft, Mr. Gooch himself. He goes over to the St. Louis. God, I can't even talk. San Diego Chargers. Is there anything about Mr. Gooch out there?
Gooch.
Harvey Gooch, 6'3", big stiff arm, big guy. Ran a 4.6 940, did 22 in the bench press. I do like his shuttle. He ran a 4.44 40 or 4.44 shuttle. God, easy for me to say. I'll spit it out. Interesting pick for the Chargers here early in the third round.
Yeah, he just actually posted a picture of him in the chat. Big running back. 85 speed, only 82 acceleration, so really a slow thumper. 81 carry, 83 ball carrier vision, but 87 trucking, 90 stiff arm. So that's the guy you want carrying the ball down in the red zone, getting that last 4 or 5 yards to get the touchdown. He's not going to do much of anything out in the open field, but get those short yardages and keeping the first downs moving and stuff. This guy's probably going to be good at that for sure. So,
Carter Spoon goes to the Chicago Bears, 6'5", more of an impact blocker, but only did 4 on the bench press. I don't love that pick. I think they're a better offensive lineman. But speaking of picks, I do love. It's gross that Mr. Darius Gross went over to the Philadelphia Eagles. Zip, I know that you were on the show earlier. I love that pick. 6'2", A- on the impact blocking, B+ on the run blocking, and he did 30 in the bench press. That's going to be a pretty good player for the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yeah, he just posted a pic on that one as well. Pretty much very similar to the stats that I had on the guard I took there in the first, but 86 strength, 86 run block, huge 92 impact block again. Not very fast, got really quick though acceleration, 75 overall. So that's young lineman to build around there in Philly.
I like the Cameron Wigman that went over to the Detroit Lions, 28 on the bench press. He did a 5'3", 140. But you know what? You just need him there in the middle. I like that pick. More of a pass blocker, so he is going to have to work on that run blocking. I mean, he's not a finished product, but I do like that pick for the Detroit Lions.
Yeah, I didn't look too much into the centers, obviously, because I have one of the better ones in the game right now with Fredericks. But yeah, I think that's a good guy for double null there in Detroit. Helps solidify his offensive line.
The next pick confuses me. Number 75, the Carolina Panthers took Haynes Pedophile. I know it's not pedophile, but it just kind of makes me laugh. Haynes Pamphile. He's 6'1", more of a hitter than anything else. He did run a 4.5 840, and he did do 27 in the bench press. So those things I like. He's not a finished product. Hopefully he's not a slow dev. If he's a slow dev, I think it's a bad pick this early. But if he's not, if he's normal or above, could be a great user guy. I know a lot of guys are trying very, very hard to move themselves to linebacker, and they've been working on it for a season. And so this is one of those picks that, if he has that speed, could be a really good user linebacker.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that.
Left tackle Carson went to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. I like that pick. 6'5" guy, more of an impactor than anything else. He can really just hit guys at the impact of the block. He did do 33 on the bench press, so he should be big and strong. I don't think the Buccaneers are around, but I do like that pick for them.
Yeah, if he's not around, then he did a good job setting his board, because I think he's had a couple of fairly decent picks come off the board for him. So,
if I'm not mistaken, he is at work tonight, so he really did do a good job on his draft board. Got really lucky one. I see pedophile was not a slow development.
I don't understand. Go ahead and talk about Mr. Pedophile, then I'll talk about this wide receiver that went to the Tennessee Titans. Kyle Vertigo, you got me. I'm scratching my head on the wide receiver pick.
Well, he wasn't as horrible as I thought for Carolina. It's 87 speed,
nice,
79 tackle, 81 hit power, just solid. Nice. 77 pursuit. I figure, I can't remember if Colin used as linebacker or not. He looks like he'd be a real solid linebacker user in the middle. He's fast. He can hit power. He's a work in progress. He's somebody 21 years old, kind of like Maniac said earlier, somebody you can build on.
Yep.
And I think he's a solid pick at this point. And I'm not going to question Colin too much, because he's a hell of a GM.
Christian Norden goes over to Vertigo and his Tennessee Titans. 5'8" guy, did 13 on the bench press, so my grandma's just slightly stronger than him. Can catch in traffic pretty well, but we all know why he got drafted. He ran a 4.3 240, which is fine. If you need a guy to play the slot, he'll be a fine guy for that. But again, I think that there are bigger, better players with just slightly lower speed that you can get for those positions.
Yeah, he's got 95 acceleration, 94 speed, 86 spectacular catch, and 80 catch in traffic, 78 catch. But his route run is really, really weak. He's going to need some time to build that up. But again, 21 years of age, and he's somebody that he can work on, possibly be a full-time slot. Definitely probably going to be returning kicks for him, because that's a lot of speed.
I do like the halfback Romberg, who went to the Denver Broncos. A pretty good pick here in the third round. A guy that should have some decent speed, some pretty all-around running back, like the one that we spoke about a little while ago with Pepper and the Giants. I think he picked up a nice little running back there.
Yeah, I didn't look too closely into Romberg and stuff, but I'm trying to see if he might. I don't know if he's online. I think he is online, so maybe he might post something about that pick.
Was it Banks Walton that I think went the pick right after that? 6'2". Yeah, a guy that was hurt, so he avoided the pre-draft, combine. But a big kid, a kid that had a lot of potential coming into the season. I just don't like the pick overall. I think that the Colts could have got somebody a little bit better with that pick.
We've kind of been spread out pretty well. I don't think there's been like a huge run on any particular position. Like I think last year's draft where we saw I think it was either running back or linebackers. I think it might have been that were out of 10 picks were 8 of them were linebackers. It was one of those crazy drafts and stuff. But everything seems to be kind of spaced out. Everybody's seemed to have done their homework and trying to go for the best pick instead of just going with certain types here. I don't know.
That's been early in the draft. Of course, it's there's been some really good players like the Houston Texans, right? They've had a really good draft. I really like what the Bucs have done this draft, even though he's missed it. Then there's been some teams I question, right? I'm questioning what the Browns have done. I'm not just saying this to say this. I think I've had the worst draft by far. I've had the number 3 pick in the first, second, and third round, and 2 of them are just complete disasters of picks that probably won't even make the team. And so, you can't miss on those picks. I'm interested though. It's early. There's a lot of draft to go here. But is there anybody that's catching your eye where you're like, you know what, that team is doing a really good job?
As much as I hate to say it, I hate to say that about Mo. I don't know if you can really build on the championship team, but he just keeps building more depth, more youth. So I don't think he'll, he's got some older guys on the defensive line. I say older, early 30s. But I think he's building to the point where he won't have a transition phase. I think he's just gonna. Those new guys will just punch in when the new guys punch out, and he won't miss a beat.
Yeah, he's going to be in the thick of things for seasons to come, it seems. So,
Lamar Dale, just middle linebacker, just went to the Baltimore Ravens. 6'2" guy, supposed to go early in this draft, but kind of fell a little bit. A thumper, a guy that's a good pursuer, a pretty good tackler, but gonna need work in his zone coverage skills. I did do 29 in the bench press, which is really good to have that strong middle linebacker in the center. He ran a 4.6 440, which is not too terrible. I don't think he'll blow you away with speed, but you know what? You don't always need that. I think Kraus with the Jaguars kind of proved that. And a pretty good pick there for the Baltimore Ravens, who've had a solid all-around draft.
And then the Browns go and select a tight end, Elling. What are you thinking, Chaotic? What's going on? No.
Yeah, I think, look, out of the tight ends, he's not terrible, right? Grant Elling, 6'3", probably more of a run blocker than a catcher, but he doesn't do anything superb. An all-around tight end. Ran a 4.7 40. I'd love to see what that means as far as his speed. Did 26 on the bench press, so I don't know. Not a terrible pick, but I guess you need a tight end when you trade years away, right?
But he did post him, and he's actually ranked 29 out of the draft in true talent. 81 speed, 81 acceleration, pretty much basic across the board, and all the other attributes. 74 catch, 76 run block, 75 spectacular catch, 72 catching traffic, and 60 in route running. So he's not very polished in the passing game. So he's just going to be strictly a blocking tight end. I don't know what his impact block is. Hopefully it's pretty high. He is 23 years of age, so not a whole lot of time to really develop that talent there and stuff. But we'll see what Chaotic does with that 74 overall tight end.
So Coach Brady takes Seth Brady, the quarterback, 6'6". He has the massive power arm of a B+, and his third stat is throwing on the run at a C+. So I don't know if Brady's goal is to see how quickly he can ruin the Ravens, the Jaguars team, but he's doing a pretty good job of it this offseason. And again, who the hell gave all these picks to Mo? You should be booted right now. We need to go ahead and delete you from this game. That's what we need to do.
Escalated quickly.
It wasn't me.
It sure in the hell wasn't me.
Yeah, I mean, how many? Really, seriously though, how many picks has Mo had already? I mean, he's won the Super Bowl for crying out loud, and he's got already 10 picks.
I'm just so distraught. I don't even know what pick he had. Oh, McClure. Here we go. Let me talk about McClure. 5'10", ran a 4.57 40. Did 20 on the bench press. But a good ball. Probably going to be like just a 98 overall, like 99 strength mauler that he's going to move the fullback and dominate everybody with. I hate you, Mo. I'm so glad I don't have to play that guy twice a season every year now. Lawrence,
he just posted up that running back. I'm sorry.
Let me do Lawrence Bingham, and then I'll let you go. 6'5", great impact blocker, good run blocker. Only did 22 in the bench press though, so that's why he's fallen this far.
Yeah, Mo with that running back, 88 speed, 93 acceleration. So he's really quick. Not a whole lot of long speed and stuff, but 83 ball carrier vision, juke move 84. Not just extremely great, but probably in Mo's offensive system, probably exactly what he needs, and he'll probably dominate with him. And then that guard that you just called out, 77 strength, so he's pretty weak. Run block is at 83. Pass block needs a lot of help at 72. Impact block, though, is 92. 73 overall, but his intangibles there in certain areas are a little weak, but he's only 22 years old. Who knows?
So this McClure kid, according to the stats that you just ran off, is a karma or clone. Like he is exactly what the Saints running back, rookie NFL running back, got as his Madden ratings. And I've seen Karma actually have some really great games, and so that's kind of scary that this is a guy that already had the Rookie of the Year running back 2 seasons ago, and he
The
just
Texans
added to
are
that.
now on the clock.
Cornerback Hadnot, what a name! You gotta love that name, Mr. Hadnot. Martin Hadnot had not any speed as he ran a 4.540. He only did 16 on the bench press. He also has not any coverage skills. So it'll be interesting to see how that guy really looks for the Oakland Raiders. A little bit of a reach here in the 3rd round, but evidently he needs a cornerback. And Massimo is another guy with picks galore. I think that if Ducks would have stayed with the Rams, none of us would have got to pick. It just would have been Texans, Seahawks, Rams over and over
And
and
Browns.
over again.
Can't forget the Browns.
And the Browns, that's right. Somebody murder me. All right. So far it's been a little bit of a slow draft. I mean, it's already 9 o'clock and we're not quite through with the 3rd round here. It's kind of dragging just a little bit, but pretty decent turnout here. I know this is the first time we've done. I was sitting on that joke. No, it was not. Sorry. There's what, 13 of us, 12 of us, something like that on the show here. This is the first time that we've moved over to Skype, trying to get away from having to pay for our draft show every single time. Yes, I butcher names. Get over it. So I think that
are now on the clock.
It's been a good turnout so far. Skype seems to have worked well. The draft stream seems to have stayed pretty strong, and so hopefully that's going well. And guys who did not have an opportunity to call in can still watch the show. A couple more picks here, and we'll start looking to see if anybody wants to come in and do some interviews. Yeah, it's been good so far. It's been a little bit slower of a draft, but overall pretty good.
I'm going to start preparing for number 92.
You do that. I'll talk about the last pick that just happened. Cartavius Stevens. I didn't butcher that name, so suck it. 6'4", a B+ on the power moves, a B- on the pursuit. I like him. Here's the problem with him. He ran a 4.8540 at the combine. That's not going to cut it. But what you do like about him, he did 26 in the bench press. There's a good chance that he's a 3-4 linebacker. You can stick him out right outside linebacker in a 3-4. Let him just rush the passer, be really good in the run game. Not a bad pick there for the Massimo and his Houston Texans. He really, in my opinion, has had the best draft. Of course, again, it's not too hard to do when you have 27 out of the first 35 picks, but still, you got to make them count, as I am clearly proving, as I have not made them count. And why did we not skip Tavon? We know that dude's not at anything. I don't know what we're doing here. Poor Tavon. He's never around. But he takes a wide receiver. Let's see if I can get some information on this wide receiver really quick. Nope. Herrera. Let me see. Where you at, Mr. Herrera? Here we go. Zach Herrera. 6'2". I like that. A guy with a lot of size here. A good catcher. A guy that you can send. I like this guy a lot. A guy that you can send across the middle. Ran a 4.5340, but I really like his shuttle at 4.22. He did 21 on the bench press. He's one of those sneaky guys that are not going to have like these powerful, overwhelming stats when you look at him on paper. But you can stick him in at number 2. He's going to be a great run blocker for you and just be a solid target for the Pittsburgh Steelers. I really like that pick from Tavon, even though he didn't make it, so I don't know why I'm giving him credit.
Be interesting to see who the two rivals pick here, the Giants and the Cowboys.
Well, let me give a little plug for our YouTube page. Make sure you follow us on YouTube, Grown Folks OC or Grown Folks Online Community. Either one of those should be able to find us. If you're watching us on YouTube right now, smash that subscribe button. Make sure you give us a like and a subscribe. We'd love for you to give us a follow. We try to give a lot of content every single week, and even I've been trying to use my mic whenever I do my games so that you can hear my dumb voice cuss out the guys who are playing me. Give us a follow on Twitter, Grown Folks OC. Follow our website, grownfolksoc.com. Lots of great content. We play a lot of different games. A NASCAR league is starting right now, which I'm getting the itch to do since the FIFA team died. Might go trade in FIFA this weekend and grab NASCAR. There's also the other, Fortnite. Fortnite Club just started. We have a WWE league, a couple different Madden versions that are out there. Lots and lots of opportunities for you to jump in there. Why don't you talk about Mr. Nerds, whatever his dumb name is for the New York Giants, the center.
Trying to get some feedback on him. He hasn't put anything on. It's not going to my backup.
Well, I'll give you what I've got on him. Henry Nears, 6'2", more of a pass and impact blocker, but you know what? You could probably bump him out to tackle if you wanted to. He did run a 4.3 940, so he's not super fast. 25 in the bench press. It'll be interesting to see what he really looks like. And then right after him, Mr. Richardson, wide receiver, went to the Dallas Cowboys. I hear a rubbing of the hands, so he's either about to play with himself or he's really excited about his wide receiver. So go ahead and talk about the receiver that you just picked up.
Well, he's definitely probably would have been a better pick at that second pick for me. He was actually an undrafted project or whatever, projected. He's 91 speed, 89 acceleration, so he's a big target, 6'5", 220 pounds, 84 catch in traffic, 95 jumping, 66 route running. Really weak in those areas and stuff, but he's only 22 years of age and a big target. Basically, he's a tight end playing wide receiver pretty much. So big guy, somebody I can put some run blocking ability on as well and help counter those hard-hitting safeties on the outside coming in and making good run blocks down the field.
You had a couple picks run off here pretty quickly with the Chiefs having their guys ready to go. He took Walters and Floyd. I'm interested to see if any of those guys came out really good. I mean, we're about to move right here into the fourth round. So, Maniac, get ready. You got two picks back-to-back. It's up to you right now. And then you had free safety Maxwell go over to the Cincinnati Bengals. And then right guard, here we go. Faberluge, something like that. Right guard went over to the Seattle Seahawks, which means he'll be your next Pro Bowl right guard. I'm not sure a right guard can win Rookie of the Year, but if it is possible, Mo's going to make that happen.
Cincy, I want to see. Cincy, I want to see that safety. Make sure to post a picture of him. Mo just posted a picture of Faberluge.
Yeah, good luck with that.
It wasn't his normal. He is 83 impact, 84 run block, 78 pass block, and 76 strength. It looks like he got a depth pick. Even the best missed a shot. Even Jordan missed a shot every once in a while. Mo picked he got a solid backup here. Somebody on a cheap contract who will be able to back up and plug and play if need be. But that 76 strength is really going to hurt him at this point.
Yeah, I'm going to go ahead and let you take over for just a sec. That way I can start figuring out who I might or might not blow this pick on.
Well, I want to hear about Maniac's pick because Maniac's, he's getting in the boat of Massimo. I think he's picked like 6 picks now in the last 2 rounds. So I'm anxious to see how Hunter and this next pick happens. I see got an awful lot of people typing in the chat. We're going to see what we got here. Strength is worthless on the O-line. Well, I hope that's the case I hope that's not the case because I hope Mo don't turn that guy, like Nate said, into a Pro Bowl right guard that he got in the 3rd round. Maniac, you got 10 seconds. We get to hear about both your picks.
Let me know who he picks on this pick, because I
The
actually
Saints
can't
are
see it.
now on the
Caldwell, Jay Caldwell,
All right, good.
right outside linebacker.
He didn't take the guy I want. Now let me just see if the guy I want is actually still on my list.
Let's hear it, Maniac. Spit it out.
All right. Always back out, and had to go back in. But okay, the last two picks I picked
The
up.
Bills are now on the clock.
Let's see, the cornerback Hunter.
The Cardinals are now
I like
on
the
clock.
name. It was between him and another guy, but I like the name Hunter. I thought it may kind of represent, hunting the ball down in the defensive
Jets
backfield.
are now on the
He's
clock.
got some speed to burn. So 93 speed, 95 acceleration, 88 agility, 75 man coverage, 74 zone coverage. So not bad coming out. I mean, he still needs some work. 52 for play recognition and stuff, but he already has 70 in the catching department as well. So this guy's going to come in and compete for a slot, maybe fourth cornerback position, in an already young defensive backfield for the Cowboys. And then my other pick, Caldwell. Again, I did pick up a couple guys in trades and stuff to replace Sean Lee, but I also want to get young in the linebacker department. And this guy is kind of almost a Sean Lee clone. 81 speed, 87 acceleration, 86 tackle, 76 block shedding, 77 hit power, and 78 pursuit. And just needs some work on some of the attributes and awareness and play recognition and stuff. But he already has 63 man and zone coverage, so a little bit of TLC, and this guy could be a starter for the Cowboys in the next season or two.
Yeah, right after that, I went defensive tackle Terrell. He's okay.
The
See.
Chargers are now on the clock.
Let me see if I can give you some stats on him. Let's see if I remember how to do this. Oh, here we go. Drafted. Yeah, there we go. Look, he's not great. 66 overall. Here's what I like about him, though. 328 pounds. He's 21, 6'6", so he's a big boy. 82 strength, that can be worked on. 80 tackle, 67 block shed, that's got to be worked on. But I love his acceleration at 78. His power moves need more work, but 73 is not too terrible that it can start on. I'm probably going to bump him out to defensive end, especially in a 3-4. Yeah, it should be an interesting pick that he has potential to at least make the team. It's not been a good draft for me. It's been one of my worst drafts I think I've ever had.
Well,
it seems like the better we get at this, the worse my drafts get. It's like I spend so much time preparing that I just do a worse and worse drafting every single time.
Yeah, I don't know how you do it though, because you talk on about every pick, and you give feedback on almost every pick because you've done your homework and stuff, and then to get out of that mode and then be owner mode, I don't know how you do it because I tried to do it in the OMFL 2 and I failed horribly.
Well, you're watching me fail right now, so don't worry about it. Let's see. We had a couple picks go off. Why don't you guys cover a couple of these picks for me?
The Buccaneers are now on.
Go ahead, Dwayne.
Which one was this to cover? How far we want to go back?
It's been a nice little run here right after my pick.
Buffalo picked Pierre Paul. The Cardinals picked defensive tackle Sanchez. The Jets picked left tackle Cooper. The Chargers picked up a cornerback in Presley. Outlaw picked a left end in Clark. I've already seen him. If I'm not mistaken, I call it a bad pick or a bust on his part. The Eagles go with the safety Tanner. The Lions go with the receiver Sharif. And the Panthers go with the running back McCann. Let's see if we can get some background on some of these guys.
It looks like I'm trying to see if there's anybody back further than that, but the pick there by the Chargers, Presley, the cornerback, 96 speed, 95 acceleration, 89 agility, 71 man, 74 zone. He's almost just like the guy that I drafted, just a little bit faster, maybe a little bit more aggressive. Plus, he's also 22 years of age, so that's a good young guy that Dawson there can build up there. Possibly maybe look to move him over into the next Madden. Let's see, Tanner for the Eagles, the free safety.
Hey guys,
90
I'm gonna pause you
speed.
just real quick. I'm just gonna mute myself real quick. I'm gonna kind of transition to my front room. So if I go quiet here for another minute or two, you guys know where I'm at.
All right, no problem. Yeah, this safety is, you got some burners, man. 90 speed, 92 acceleration, 69 zone coverage. So he's weak in his coverage right now. 67 man, 78 tackle, 76 pursuit, but that all around hit power rating that you love, 86. So this guy's a thumper, and he's also 6'1", 226 pounds. He could move him into a linebacker later on down the road when he starts aging out of that safety position. So nice pickup there by the Eagles.
We've had a couple more picks. I am intrigued at DBL, and I'm really surprised at this point in the draft that these kind of guys are left. Wide receiver Sharif, 96 speed, 94 excel. He is 5'9", 170. He's a slot kick returner. Maybe even somebody you put on the outside and tell him to go run a go route 4 times a game. Just burning speed. And he's 23 years old. Maybe he can build him up to, a halfway decent receiver. I'm just really shocked that somebody that fast is still on the table at this point, as the way people wouldn't go for speed. The Panthers with McCann, he's 84 speed, 82 excel. He is 87 trunking and 93 stiff arm. I think he's a solid power back, 6'1", 230. Like I say, he's not a guy who's going to get through the line and break it for 80 yards unless everybody just trips and falls behind him. But he can hit the line and get 3 or 4 yards. And then 3 or 4 or 5 tough yards that teams just hate to give up play after play after play. He can be a very good, take a breath back and compliment back to somebody with the speed like McCaffrey.
I'll tell you another interesting pick that came out was to the Titans. It's only 72 overall, but this guy, 6'7", 299, Chester, right in Corey Chester. He is actually 81 in true talent, 90 strength, 85 tackle, 77 block shed, 71 power moves, 76 speed, 82 acceleration. But he's only 22, and I like the age, along with having good tangibles and stuff. That's somebody to build upon, and look for him to probably be a force in a year or two in our Madden league.
I do like that 6'7", almost nearly 300 pounds. That is a huge body on the line.
Yeah.
See the Broncos go with defensive tackle Sanders. The Colts go with middle linebacker Decker. And the Rams go with the very popular tight end Mobley at the 112th pick.
Yeah, tight end has been more popular, I think, this draft than I've ever seen it. I mean, I don't remember that many picks going before and up to the 4th round for tight end. Most of the time it's, guys are picking them late in the 5th, 6th, 7th rounds, get those blocking tight ends, but they're not taking a chance on those guys falling out. So,
all right, if I can get you guys, I'm back now. But if I can get you guys to help me out and maybe give me, let's see, you probably have to go a little slow for me, but give me Tanner on down. So let me look up Tanner, make sure I got Tanner marked. Actually, give me McCain is the last pick I had. So whoever took halfback McCain.
Colin.
Okay, I need from there down. So let me get Higman, and then you guys can help me out, and just so I can just update my draft board, catch up with where I'm at, and then we'll jump right back into the conversation. Deshaun Higman, number 1 cornerback. All right, who went after Higman?
Chester, right end to the Titans.
Right end.
The 49ers are now on the clock.
Then Sanders.
Wait, it's too fast.
The Jaguars are now on the clock.
All right, Chester. Okay, I got Chester.
Sanders, defensive tackle for the Broncos.
Are now on the clock.
All right, Sanders. All right, done.
Decker, middle linebacker for the Colts.
All right, done.
Tight end Mobley for the Rams.
Tight end Mobley to the Rams. I don't know whose lady is back there whispering, but you have trained that lady well. Mine told me I better shut up and stop being so loud. So I better whisper. All right, after the tight end.
Left tackle Poole for the Ravens.
All right.
Chargers go with left end Cummings.
All right.
And the 49ers give it our first kicker, Bannon.
Nice.
Hey.
And the Jags go with receiver Hasselbach.
I think you had it right, Hasselbach. As they continue to ruin their franchise.
The Haas.
All right, whose lady is whispering?
It's not on my end.
Oh, it's not on your end? Oh, it must be on Maniac's end.
Oh.
Maniac, is that a child or is that the wife?
That's the wife.
Oh, okay. You got to put her on the mic and find out what she thinks about the draft. I'll ask her if she feels like has done a great job.
The Dolphins are now on the clock.
She's a Dolphins fan, so she thinks that I stink.
They've done terrible. Yeah. Morgan, Cretion.
The Raiders are now on the clock.
6'1" guy. More of a tackler, a guy that could sometimes get off a block, but a slower guy, right? Ran a 4.70 40. Only did 17 on the bench press. And then free safety Compton. Let's see, where's Mr. Compton?
The Raiders are now on the clock.
Mr. Wes Compton, 6-foot guy, more of a thumper. Did run a 4.45 40 and 21 on the bench press, so he'll be a fast guy. A pretty good pick for them. Wide receiver David. Let's see what I can find out. Mr. David. Other than his last name is his first name.
The Giants are now on the clock.
Another
Sean
kicker.
David.
Another kicker.
Oh, you know why Mr. Sean David got drafted. He ran a 4.3 140, but he did do 17 in the bench press. The problem is his top stat was a catch at C+. That's not a good place to start.
Hopefully he's just going to be a returner for him because, that's going to be hard to make any catches against some of these DBs and stuff that's got in the league right now.
All right, your second kicker that goes off, Mr. Ross, don't call me Gail Kim. That's a wrestling joke for those who don't know. B+ kick power. Who cares what he ran in the 40 and what he bench pressed? I want to know who's making kickers bench press. That's what I need to know. I need to understand that in my life so I can, because I think that's how serial killers are made. I'm pretty sure that's how serial killers are made.
Punter just went off the board.
A little run on kickers and punters here. Mr. Moyer, Jason Moyer, 6'3", a big old boy. Nice kick power with an A. Nice kick accuracy with a B+. And that's going to come in handy because we have lowered the kick accuracy for both kickers and punters. And so having that guy that can really have that good high accuracy. Plus, when you have back-to-back picks right here, it helps. And I just want to pause really quick before you give us stats. And I just wanted to thank D. Wayne for not only having me do a terrible draft today in which he gave me a good draft pick, and I'll probably ruin here in a couple of picks, but he also somehow managed to ruin next year's draft because I'm short a draft pick for next year. So, D. Wayne, thank you for keeping the man down in the NFC South. I really appreciate it. Give us some stats on this punter. Here's the number one stat I want to know. Who cares? But after who cares, you can give us some other stats. I mean, punters are not people,
I really don't care. I'm going to go after him with my safety and try to knock him out of the game first game.
I'm not gonna lie, I've had that thought so many times of losing a game and just like I'm just gonna wipe out this dude's backup quarterback.
95 kick power from him and 86 kick accuracy. Nice. Those are the only two things that you need to know. But that's a pretty good stat coming in as a rookie.
Kevin Horan goes to this Pittsburgh Steelers. He's a guy that I had on my list to kind of look at as we go here. Nice hip power, nice pursuit. He did 31 on the bench press, ran a 5.12 40. But what I like is his shuttle at a 4.90. So not a bad pick for the Pittsburgh Steelers this late in the draft.
That was my next pick. I'm not gonna lie, that was my pick for 124.
It's a good one.
Now it's the backup plan.
So we're coming up on a couple of picks here. Go ahead and look at your draft board. We got the Giants, we got the Cowboys, the Chiefs, the Falcons. So you guys got some picks coming up, and then I'm going to go quiet as after the Bengals and Seahawks, I have 2 out of the next 3. It's me, the Packers, and then me again.
The Cowboys are now on the clock.
How did the Seahawks get so many picks? Like, I'm very confused by this.
The
Like, he's
Chiefs
picked
are
every
now on
other
the
pick.
Is that 126? That's your pick, ain't it?
Well, I guess you gave me the wrong pick.
I only have 1 4th-round pick.
Well, evidently you didn't have 1 4th-round pick.
Well, it's not showing up in my trade thing. Like, it says I don't have that pick anymore. I don't know if it's going to change at the last second or.
Well, I'm blaming you. If it breaks the franchise, I'm blaming you.
You?
Defensive tackle Ray, why don't you go ahead and talk about him? I'm talking to you, Maniac, since it was your pick.
Okay.
I like how he's like, okay, I'll do you a favor. I'll talk about my player.
Sure. Let me talk about him. Well, since my other guy got picked, I went ahead and went with the next guy I had on my board, Bradley Ray. I love the name, Bradley Ray. 286 pounds, 6'3". He's 23, but he is a pass rusher. 84 strength, so not spectacular, but not bad.
Well, it just said the
73
Saints.
tackle.
It just said the Saints, but it shows Dwayne on mine. Okay, this is
Oh,
weird.
wow.
All right, well, it's letting me pick. At least I think it is. So let me hurry up and you guys go ahead and talk, and I'll figure out who I'm taking.
82 power moves. He's pretty bland, but he's got some things that I can work with here. He'll be a young guy. I've got another couple of young guys on the roster already, so this guy will kind of fit right in with them. Hopefully, I can get him built up here. Maybe not this season, but next season. Maybe he'll be a guy to come in on the goal line and stuff, help plug those holes up on the goal line. But not a bad pick for me overall wise. He's one of the better ones for the day. 70 overall for the Cowboys. So.
I'll go ahead and talk about one of my picks real quick. I'm going to have a couple picks coming up here pretty soon, but I'm actually happy with this one.
Ooh.
Actually, not too bad. 75 overall left guard, Chase Nevis, a zone blocker, but he's got 84 strength. Again, his strength really matter. We don't know. 82 run block, 78 pass block, 84 impact blocking, 63 speed, 71 acceleration. So not bad for this late of a pick here for the left guard.
Yeah, that's a good pick.
And then
you got a couple picks.
I do, so I'm going to let you guys do some talking here.
I wonder if this is the younger brother of the wide receiver, Sarwanga.
If he's as fast, he's in good hands. If he's as fast as his older brother is.
Right. Mo goes defensive again. He's taking the left outside linebacker, Marshall. I'm curious to see your stats on him. I had him and the other guy that I picked earlier, the linebacker, is 2 that I had pegged from my board. So kind of curious to see which one was the better one out of those 2.
Mo will post him. Mo's usually really good at posting his guys. There it is. 82 speed, 76 tackle, 79 hit power, 72 block shot, 76 pursuit, 6'4", 250 pounds, normal development. That's just a solid pick. Another guy for Mo to plug in, and he might be able to shape him up. He looks like just a solid run stopping linebacker.
I'll talk about mine.
Mo has done really good.
I'll talk about mine real quick. Again, another blown pick. 69 overall, 300-pound center, 82 strength, 78 run block, 78 pass block, 82 impact. Not terrible. Yeah, we'll see. You're starting to get late in the draft, and so you can start to take these flyers. To me, there's a lot of value left in the offensive line, and so that's probably where you're going to see me go.
Yeah, that offensive line, that's one of the things usually at the end of after the draft is over with and the start of free agency comes up, usually there's a run on those young offensive linemen. So, if you've got those extra picks on the back end, maybe this is the draft to, load up, take some flyers on some of those guys. So you have their rights for 4 years instead of trying to fight to get them for that 1 year contract and then have to resign. So
the Saints are now on the clock.
It's a hell of a name. Green Bay's right tackle.
Straczynski?
Sounds exactly like somebody who played Green Bay.
I wonder what his first name is with the Z. I wonder if I don't
Let's see. I'm actually waiting for Priest to post him. Priest ain't posted him.
Well, if there's one thing Priest is good at, he's good at drafting weird, crazy names, or he puts in for crazy names for his players.
That's right. Oh, let's see.
The Seahawks.
All right, I'll talk about my next pick since it
Going
happened.
hog.
And then, I think there was too much value there to pass up. And I really like this guy. 71 overall, 336 pounds. So he's a big guy. 83 strength, don't love that. 80 run block is okay. 72 pass block, needs some work. But 88 impact blocking, 67 speed, 71 acceleration. So you know what? He's ranked 98th. I got him at 131. 2 out of my last 3 picks have been a really good value. And I'm really not making this up. I need to know before this night is over who gave Mo and the Seahawks all of these damn picks, because you're gone. Your team is going to be open tonight.
He took the roach.
Never mind. I almost said something that would have got me in trouble. I'm not going to say. There was somebody on the pre-draft show that was holding his cigarette like a roach. I was like, is my buddy getting ready for this draft right now? He's really into it.
I said we got some numbers back on Zachary Straczynski for the Packers. 78 strength, 83 run block, 72 pass block, 86 impact block. You're talking about a guy, like I said, depending on how you feel about your strength, that's not a bad way to start it, in my opinion. Like I said, I don't value pass block a whole lot. I know that sounds funny, but as long as you got run block and impact, I can live with you. I feel he's a good fill-in starter or somebody he can build for the next couple of years at 22 years old.
Yeah, Jason from Tennessee, he named him the safety that Modus took, Tevin Roach, the killer roach.
Roach. Actually pretty solid.
What about this linebacker that the Seahawks took? How did he turn out? Shad
the linebacker.
Marshall.
Oh. How far back up that was?
It was.
No, that's not.
It was right before my center pick that I made.
It's that one we talked about.
I missed it. My bad.
Oh yeah,
it's a solid.
Yeah, that was.
Are now on the clock.
The one. Yeah, I had this guy, my guy, pegged the one, but I took the other linebacker and stuff, and I was kind of curious. He's really pretty similar to the linebacker I took.
The Bears.
He's a little bit faster, 82 speed, 76 tackle, 79 hit power, and 82 power moves, and he's a 3-4 pass rushing linebacker. So I don't know. Mo thinks he may move this guy down to defensive end, block shed and stuff. So it'll be interesting to see what Mo does with this dude.
Yeah, it seems like the Chargers are taking a little bit of a flyer here on Chase Batten. Not a bad pick though. This late in the draft, 6'5". I love his size. Throwing power of an A-. Can hit throw short at a B-. Ran a 4.97 40. Not like that matters. He's going to be pretty much a pocket passer, but I mean, you're getting early in the 5th round. It's slim pickings out there, right? Now we're starting to look for the diamonds in the rough, right? The guys who have those really good traits that you don't have to really work on, whether it's speed or throwing power or something like that. That's where you're going to start to see a lot of guys start to take these picks.
The Lions are now on the clock.
Well, Dawson's not really happy with him, but
no, he's not.
But he's a young guy, 22 years of age, 9 power, 81 short accuracy, 67 medium, 61 deep. But that was kind of the same type of guy that I had starting out with my rookie. But there's some things there he can work with. It won't be as terrible as he thinks down the road if you just get him built up a little bit.
Just going to do a little draft recap here. Now it's going to be slim pickings from here on out. But I think that there might be a quarterback out there that you might be able to stick in on the practice squad and kind of build up. There's not a ton of speed left at halfback. That was picked pretty clean, but there's one or two guys out there that you might be able to pick up and really help your team. Lots of fullbacks left. But where do you guys think that the strength of what's left here in these last 2 rounds?
I think personally, you got some good linemen still left. I mean, I know that I see some guys picking, but you still have I see 3 or 4 linemen just up front that might not be day one starters, but have the attributes in the right places to either be built right or it can just jump in there and be that guy. Especially with offensive line being injuries being a key thing the last couple of seasons. You better have 2 to 3 good linemen, or at least linemen that can fill in a couple games. And I think there's some linemen left that guys could keep and build, and for 4 years could be a really good cheap backup.
Guys, there's been 7 outside linebackers picked this draft, and we are almost to the halfway mark of the 5th round. That might be a new record. Like, there's been very few linebackers that have been taken, and I think a lot has to do is because you're seeing a lot of 3-4 type guys, right? A lot of guys that are going to struggle with the speed, a little stronger, that you can move to defensive end. And it's just interesting to me that guys aren't gobbling some of these guys up. And there's been more cornerbacks taken than what I expected to happen. I expected there to be a bigger run on the outside linebackers than cornerback. Both were 2 of my bottom positions. But, man, there's not been a lot of outside linebackers taken.
The Titans are now on the clock.
There's actually a couple of good cornerbacks left, and I think because I think my board just had 3 and it only has 2 on it now. So I don't know if there was a cornerback pick. May not have been, but yeah, the Reese guy. I guess that was one of the ones that was on my board. Also, there's a couple wide receivers still that can compete.
Mm-hmm. Now, there's definitely some wide receivers that I like that are not going to be super speedsters, but I think can still play.
And I think there is 2, possibly 3 halfbacks that may they're a little weak in a couple areas and stuff, but ball carrying and stuff like that, it's really not that hard to build up. I mean, especially if you've got the trait unlocked for your coach. That may be one of those guys that kind of surprised throughout the season. And there's a couple of them that are pretty young that could be somebody that, if you know who you're going to come into the next Madden, this 21, 22-year-old halfback, you get him built up. By then, you may want to bring him over and solidify your running game starting off in Madden 19.
Denalius Sutherland just went to the Tennessee Titans. I like that pick. 5'11". Again, another thumper that's really good at zone coverage. I think like a poor man's version of the guy that I got early in the draft. Ran a 4.56 40, 21 of the bench press. A really, really good pick there. We have not done any interviews, and so I'm just going to throw this out. I know Priest is going to want to talk, so if you would like to come onto the show, just let D. Wayne know or let Maniac know in the chat. They'll let me know that here's who we're bringing on. We'll have you unmute yourself, and we'll just do a quick interview about your draft. We're almost at the halfway mark of round 5. It'll slow down here, which I'm okay with. It'll give us some time to do some interviewing, some recapping, and some look forward to season 77.
The Ravens are now on the clock.
I'd love to find out how many people actually just watch the stream instead of trying to come in here with us. But to me, it's been a good turnout. I mean, we've had didn't have to pay for it because we used the Skype, and it's been a really good turnout for us so far. I think it's been a good draft show.
I think the Skype is better. To me, it seems like the quality of the sound quality seems to be better. I know somebody said something about my mic was cutting out a little bit earlier. I think it's just on my end. But I do think that this has been a very positive thing to go towards with the Skype for our Press Pass Live and stuff like this. So kudos, neat.
Yeah, it's been fun. Again, if you guys want to be interviewed, just let Dwayne or Maniac know in the chat. Just type that, hey, I want to be interviewed. We'll let you unmute yourself. We'll bring you on. We'll talk about your entire offseason, kind of from free agent signings all the way through your draft and kind of how you feel things have been. You want to talk about a team that has been pretty quiet. Now, of course, they changed owners and things have really changed, but the New England Patriots have been eerily quiet this draft. I mean, I can't even really pick out any picks that stick in my brain, which means he probably hasn't done too terrible like I have, but he may not have done as great as like Massimo has. So those are just one of the teams that have stuck out. The Baltimore Ravens has been another team that have seemed to have a lot of picks. I'm interested to see if he feels like he did a good job or not. Free safety Combs. Let me give you a little bit of stuff on Mr. Combs. Where you at, Mr. Combs? At the grocery store with the other Combs. Here we go. Tremond Combs, 6 foot. Don't do that. No. Sorry. A C plus hit power. So again, another thumper, ran a 4.59. A lot of these safeties seem to be like copy cut paste, right? You just get a little bit of poorer versions of the previous safety that was taken. And then, now we're starting to see the two positions that I feel like there's a lot of value left is fullback and center. And we just seen another fullback go right off of here as Mr. Cameron Gruder goes to the New England Patriots. 5'10", a big trucker type of guy. Ran a 4.69 40, so super fast. He also did 25 on the bench press, so he should be pretty strong. Nice pick there, especially if you like those really quick, fast fullbacks.
The Bengals are now on the clock.
Left end, Lamarcus
I haven't watched
Shepherd.
enough of the.
Go ahead.
I was going to say I haven't watched enough of the Patriots gameplay to really know what his philosophy is, but going to fullback like that might kind of lean towards he may be going to be going to the running philosophy for his offense. So.
Yeah, I mean, he was here before, but I don't know. I don't remember a whole lot about him. And the poor Jaguars, Brady knows I love him, but there definitely have been some misses this off season, and I mean to miss this draft and to spend all the money on the middle linebacker. Just some questions to be answered in Jacksonville, a team that had so much potential, that pushed early on, fell back to obscurity for a little bit, and then kind of like roughly competed. In my opinion, he's got too much going on in real life, and he plays in other leagues. He's got another league that he's been in maybe even longer. That's more important to him. Yeah, this was a swing and a miss for him to be able to miss a very important offseason for a very young team that was on the cusp of really the AFC's open, right? Like this is the opportunity. Yes, the Bengals are good, but outside of the Bengals, it is an opportunity for teams to take hold of the AFC and to challenge the Bengals, especially since Houday has left, especially since, of course, Ducks hasn't been in the AFC for a while. B-Hog, of course, needed to be let go. That AFC is really wide open, and in my opinion, the Jacksonville Jaguars missed a really big opportunity.
Yeah, putting that much money into one linebacker in the offseason, that's putting a lot of chips in on one guy, and
The Raiders
missing out on the draft, getting some hits and misses here, but it looked like he's got more misses than hits, and so it does have a trickling effect, and we'll see how he can overcome this possibly in the regular season, if he can overcome it.
Quarterback Buckley went to the Bengals. Don't love the pick. I didn't look at his speed, but I don't think there's any fast quarterbacks in this draft other than the first guy that went to the Buffalo Bills. Left outside linebacker Ray. Again, another slow guy that you're probably going to, 3-4 defensive end or 3-4 outside linebacker, I should say. Middle linebacker Klug. Not a bad pick here late in the 5th round. He had some, potential. He did have a B+ hit power, a C+ tackle, and a C+ pursuit. And he did run a 4.67 40, and he did 28 on the bench press. That's a pretty good pick when you're talking about this late in the draft for a guy who's really built his team on the draft. He went out a couple seasons ago. He got his franchise quarterback. He followed that up with his franchise wide receiver. That became a super deadly duo in the NFC. Now look, he's back in school. Life is kind of overtaking him again. But he's put together a pretty solid draft here.
Yeah, I definitely think that he does build through the draft, and he's got a young team. He doesn't hang on to players when they get too old, and we saw that when he cut Norman off of his defensive backfield and stuff, and he's not afraid to rotate that roster around a little bit, and it's going to be, of course, he's in my division, so it's going to be interesting to see what he's got to bring to the table with all these rookies that he's drafted.
Dwayne, why don't you talk about your right tackle that you took? Again, if you guys want to be interviewed, we'd love to talk to you. All you got to do is unmute yourself or let Dwayne or Maniac know in the chat that you would like to be interviewed, and we'll bring you on. I, for one, thinks that the Jags are doing splendidly. That's funny. Is that Brady? Because I don't think Brady. Oh, he thinks. I don't know who that is, but evidently he likes the fact that the Jags are sucking. But why don't you talk about the right tackle that you took? Again, if you guys want to be interviewed, let us know, and I'm going to look for my next pick.
He was solid, especially at this point in the draft. He's 80 strength, which that's actually what I was worried about when I've been watching him for the last couple rounds. I figured somebody take him. I think the strength scared people off. But he's 80 strength, 84 run block, 76 pass block, and 89 impact block. He's a solid guy, 6'7", 333 pounds. He's 22 years old. He'd be a good guy for me because I like to run the ball. So actually running wise, I could actually put him in if I need him to for a game or two to start. But he'd be somebody I can sit back and let him learn from some of the veterans, and maybe in a season or two he could be an everyday starter.
The Giants are now on the clock.
Yeah, I think that's a really solid pick for you this late in the draft, and again, I love the 22 years of. I don't know how many more seasons we're going to go with the OMFL for this Madden, but it could be somebody that you build up to where you want to bring over, But I got a feeling you're going to bring over one of those safeties, though. I just know.
I can almost guarantee you it's a sure bet that a safety will come with me. There's still a couple more offensive linemen. I'm really surprised. There's a couple right guards and that are left that really have caught my eye, and there's about 3 or 4 left tackles actually that have kind of caught my eye. I think we should have a few more steals here. I'm anxious to see who Pepper picks here.
I don't.
No, we keep losing you, Maniac.
You cut
It
out.
keeps
man.
dropping out.
Yeah, that's okay. There you are. We got you back though. Yeah, just kind of looking over my team, I think that it's tough, right? I think that there are definitely some players that have potential, but it's like, where do I want to try to spin that potential, right? I think that there are some receivers that definitely could pay off in the long term.
Adam, what can you tell us about the Giants' newest
Yeah,
player?
and there are definitely some linemen, and I'm a lineman
Frustration
whore. I love linemen. The
Okay.
legs spread open for linemen.
That escalated so fast.
It does. It does with me sometimes.
He just slipped right in there, didn't he?
He did. I'm gonna go with Vital McNair, a wide receiver that I had my eye on. And yeah, I hate the pick. It's terrible. 86 speed, 88 acceleration. He's 6'1", 82 catch, 82 spectacular, 80 catch in traffic. So he's just like a big boy. Yeah, he's from UL Lafayette, so it'll be cheap to send him back home when he doesn't make the team.
Dang.
He's terrible. I'm never gonna keep an 86 speed wide receiver. I don't do that.
Well, he was on my draft board, so I can't knock it. He was on my draft board too.
No, he definitely was on mine, and it just, when you're this late, you see that kind of value. Like you got to give it a shot. And I thought with a 4.6, 4.40 that it would be better than 87. But you know what? I think that the Bengals also proved last year that you can win with those types of guys. Like if you put them in the right position, like they can still make plays.
Yeah, I think
he just
they
won't
have
make
to
plays
have,
on my team.
Yeah, I think they had to have that good route running ability because
Is 66 good? No, that's
no,
not good. Okay,
no.
yeah, then yeah.
You might be able to build him up, setting him on the bench or on your practice squad, but I do know from the OMFL too that I had a couple of slow receivers for my team, and they did really well. And so I kind of have to, tongue in cheek, saying that,
So do you want to trade for this guy? Because we can talk.
We'll talk down the road, maybe. We'll see how things work out.
Mr. Hunter, yeah, go ahead.
Now, say Priest said he'd be valuable to be interviewed after 162.
Of course he does. That's what Priest does. Priest likes to be interviewed. I'm all for that. Hunter Brock just went to the Chargers. You got to tell your buddy, we're a little pissed off at him now. He's one of our crew that gets on here and does Press Pass Live with us. And I don't know if the girlfriend has locked him in the closet and he can't get out to come talk to us. But if he can draft, his butt should have been on here. But he took Hunter Brock, 6'2", more of a hit power guy. I do like his speed. He did run a 4.6, 4.40. It's not going to be a burner, but he'll be pretty good. 23 on the bench press. I love linebackers that have good, strong strength. Not a bad pick. Excuse me, this late in the 5th round.
The Bears are now on the clock.
And Mo with another pick.
Yeah,
dang, how many picks does this dude have?
I know. I cannot understand it.
Ron TMO. Conspiracy.
The middle linebackers have been almost completely picked dry. There is not a whole lot left out there when it comes to comes to the middle linebacker.
76 overall.
Oh, I gotta look
tackle.
at my pick.
Mo just picked up.
Oh my gosh.
No, he didn't.
I swear.
That's unbelievable.
32 overall in true talent in the 6th round. Or I'm sorry, the last pick of the 5th round, but still.
I hate him.
76 You're interviewing
overall.
tonight, Mo. We're talking to you tonight.
Right. 86 strength. 84 run block. Wow.
Priest, I know you're fixing to make this pick. I don't know if Nate, you want him to unmute himself after this pick.
Let me make my pick and then we'll unmute him.
Okay.
I don't want to hear his voice before my pick. It's a total joke, kind of.
The Saints are now.
Oh, Mo said he's been listening. Mo is listening.
He's always listening.
Well, he's always trading too, obviously.
Oh, God, what do I do here, guys? Let's pick another terrible center. How about that? That always seems to work.
Watch, this is going to be a superstar. Quick development.
Let me see this guy. Hold on.
See, the Packers pick wide receiver Morris.
What do I want to do?
I don't
remember
Morris
or something.
Yeah, I was thinking I don't even think I put Morris on my draft board, but
the Bills are
it's
on the clock.
For Priest it has to be Speedy Gonzalez or something.
All right,
guy has to have cheese wheels.
Before we bring on Priest, I'll talk about my pick real quick. Clifford Patrick, 70 overall, 84 strength, 75 run, 79 pass, 81 impact. So just that's how you wrap it up, man. If you're going to have a bad draft, man, you need to put that cherry on top, that guy that won't even make it to the bus. And this is definitely one of those picks. So, all right, Mr. Priest, go ahead and unmute yourself so we can hear you ramble.
What's going on, guys?
What's up, Mr. Priest?
What's going on, Priest?
Now we give you a hard time, but the Packers have had a very pivotal offseason. Your team is getting older here. There are a lot of opportunities, right? You're faced with kind of that crossroads. Do you make one last run with your quarterback, or do you turn your attention somewhere else? And you chose to go ahead and make one last run, and you really built an older team. To be honest, it's very similar to kind of D. Wayne's outlook. Like, he doesn't mind taking on older players and really building around them. And you followed that up with a pretty good draft. So talk about your offseason. What was your mindset going into this offseason? What happened through free agency? And then we'll get to your draft later. But what was your mindset going into the offseason? And what did you have to look into for the free agency period?
The Cardinals are now on the
basically what you were just touching on. I had to go either one way or the other.
No, sorry, I didn't touch you at all.
So Rodgers, his contract's coming up this year. And basically all or nothing for me right now.
Mm-hmm.
Picked up Gronk. I don't care what anybody says. Gronk's the shit. So if you don't want to pay the money for him, then it's your loss.
No, I totally agree with you. I think he's so old. He may be shitting himself. Like, you may need to get diapers, and he may need to wear those throughout the season because he's getting pretty old.
Yeah, but he can run block. That's pretty much what I got him. And then Julio Jones. Yeah, I took a $17 million pay for that, but I lost Nelson. He retired on me, so I kind of had to find somebody that replaces him.
What do you think about your draft? Like, how has that worked out? What was your mindset going into that? Were you able to fill the needs that you wanted?
Basically just trying to fill, minus the middle linebacker.
For them?
I was just filling backup roles. I had to take that fullback. I didn't have a third or fourth round pick, so that fullback's he's going to be a juggernaut for me, I think.
A juggernaut fullback. That'll be a first in the OMFL. I'm looking forward to that. What was kind of the pick that you feel like you missed on?
Well, I just took a long shot on the Perry Morris. He was supposed to be picked in the first round. Supposed to be picked in the first round, so why not take him? He didn't really turn out too great. He's super tall, but 64 overall, acceleration 88, 87 speed. So
well, here's the good thing about 92, though. The great thing about being super tall is there's always a job at Walmart. I mean, they need people to get right up there at the top shelves, and so look, he's always going to have a job right there in Green Bay. What was your best pick?
No.
What do you think was your best pick so far?
Tell you the truth, the fullback.
Really?
Even over the middle linebacker, I was hoping the middle linebacker would have been superstar, but he wasn't. But he'll still get the job down there for me.
All right, what do we expect from the Packers in season 77? You've kind of built this to make one last run. What's it going to take for the Packers to be successful?
Take my division and work my way through the playoffs.
How are we going to get there, though? Like, take your division.
You're going to see a lot of running.
Okay.
And you're going to see less interceptions from Aaron Rodgers.
Well, there we heard it. Who do you think is going to be your biggest competition? And it sounds like Maniac has got a great question for you. So I'm going to let Maniac go next. But who's your biggest competition right there in the north?
Vikings, obviously. He's got a solid crew over there. And then Seahawks.
There you go.
There's a lot of
Bill, he's calling you out. It'll be a great game.
Oh, well.
Now on the clock.
Yeah, I just kind of wanted what's going to be. Are you going
The Bears
to really air the ball out with Julio? Or are you going to turn your team to more of a power run, play off the play action, short passing game style?
Yeah, I'm not a play action or a short passing. I either run the ball straight at your face or I throw it deep. So I found a new playbook, so we'll just have to see how it goes.
We just banned West Coast playbook, so you're going to have to find another one.
Yeah, I never use that. That's not my style anyway.
Priest, man, you're always fun to have on, bro. You're always a ball of fun. You're always looking like you're having way more fun than the rest of us. But, bro, we enjoy having you here. You're always a great talk whenever you come on to the draft show. I'm looking forward to see what happens with your Packers as we move into this season 77, man. Good luck to you.
Thanks, guys. You too.
All right, Mr. Priest, there you have it. Sounds asleep though. He's not the Priest with all that energy that we're used to having. But to be fair, it is 10 o'clock Central Time, so it is starting to get pretty late. But look, the Packers. This is one way to do it, right? You definitely can make that run. If you're gonna make that run, though, you got to go all in. And you got to give it to Priest, man. He has went all in. He has put all his chips to the center of the table. It's going to happen now, or it's just not going to happen for him in Madden 18.
Yeah, I agree. I think he saw the window closing there especially with his quarterback there and Aaron Rodgers getting along on the tooth and I think that this is going to be his year to make the move. If not, then it's going to be a very, very, very hard uphill battle for him to make any headway the rest of this Madden.
I wish we would have tracked this, but I think I am setting a record tonight for the most 60 overall draft picks. Like, I didn't think that this was possible, but I think I am going to set the record tonight for 8 60 under 60 overall draft picks because I have had a terrible draft here. Did we lose our buddy?
I don't know. I haven't heard anything from Dwayne. Maybe. Yeah, with all those picks that Mo had, he's still got one more pick left to go. So
that's amazing.
And so he did post in the chat on Discord that he would come on when we were ready for him. So he said he is listening.
We've been ready for him since round 3.
I agree.
So whenever he's ready, we'll just come on, Mo. This guy's got
move on over, Mo.
Is this Mo?
This is Mo.
Oh, here we go. The guy who's got everything going for him. I mean, just listen to this voice. He's got a brand new house. He just won the championship. He's got all these draft picks. He won the golf championship. He's got a beautiful family. Everything that you want to hate about a guy, Mo's got it right now.
He's like Tom Brady of the OMFL right now.
Oh, Jesus. Somebody help us.
Life's not that good.
Congratulations on a great season, buddy. And thank you for being a fun sport. But you really have had a great draft. But before we get there, we have to spend the proper time to congratulate you on an amazing season. What was the key to your success, especially when it comes to the Bengals? Because at the end of the day, both of your meetings, you really manhandled him from start to finish.
Hopefully I don't give away too many secrets, but I definitely play way better against people that take more chances. Since he's a risk taker, pays off for him usually. So that's the kind of player that I have a much better chance of coming away with a victory as opposed to guys like Ducks and Dwayne who are just consistent pounders. That's what I really struggle with.
What was kind of the mindset after winning the OMFL Bowl 76, going into the offseason? What were your needs? What were you needing to do? What was the mindset going into this offseason?
I only lost, Russell Wilson, who I ended up getting back in free agency. That was pretty much my only real loss. So I haven't really lost much this offseason. I was kind of set up to have a couple years here of a pretty standard team that's not going to change too much. So next season will be my big let off, but hopefully this season I'll make one more run before I have to make a lot of changes to the roster.
What were your kind of major needs as you went into free agency? Of course, Russell Wilson was a free agent. He's getting up there in age, which probably scared some people off. But what were your kind of major needs as you went into the free agent period?
That was definitely quarterback. I mean, that was without Wilson. I think I had Mike Glennon on my roster, and that was my only quarterback. So it was definitely a little bit of a scare there. If I didn't land someone, it could have been a disaster. And that was the biggest one.
I didn't see how it played out exactly. Again, it's hard for me to keep up with everything, but I knew that you were in the Cam Newton sweepstakes. How did that free agency play out? Who did you bring back? Who did you bring in? And where did you improve when it came to the free agent?
I brought in a couple tight ends, but yeah, I was pretty much saving all my money to make sure I got one of those quarterbacks. Luckily, this is a great free agency for quarterbacks. I mean, Cam Newton, Russell Wilson, Marisic guy, I think it was. There was a bunch, 5 or 6 really good quarterbacks. But I also brought in tight ends, some guys that are kind of on the backside of their career. Kelsey, Jimmy Graham comes back to Seattle, so those guys will probably start for me. They're not amazing at this point of their career, but they'll start and should do something.
So you got Russell Wilson back. Anybody else to go with him?
Yeah, Jimmy Graham's coming back.
I mean at quarterback. My bad.
Oh, quarterback? No, I had one more bid out on. I don't think anyone got him. I think he didn't accept an offer. He's still in free agency. So I'll be bidding on him again because I have the money to go after him. I forget the guy's name, Marisic or something like that.
What was the decision between you were in on Cam Newton, if I remember, to come off of Cam and go Wilson?
Just a comfort level probably. Playing with Russell Wilson pretty much since I've been in the OMFL for over a year now. Pretty much every game's been with him almost. So just a comfort level, and the money was pretty similar.
Moving into the draft, you got to give us your secret. How did you rack up so many draft picks?
I'll be honest, guys.
I don't know what. That's amazing. Whoever's doing that.
I'll be honest with you guys though. I thought I had my normal 7 draft picks. I didn't make a single trade this season. Life's been a little crazy with the move, and my work and everything's been intense.
Winning championships.
Yeah. So I honestly, I didn't make a trade this entire season. I thought I had 7 picks, each one at the very end of the round. But log on today, I have 10 picks, and I was very underprepared.
Well, it doesn't seem like it. What was your mindset going into the draft, and how have you done so well? I mean, you've got one of the top 3 drafts this year.
I feel like I was pretty solid throughout the draft. I didn't really have. That one D tackle was, he's a quick development, so that obviously makes him a lot more valuable. But other than that, I don't have any really standout players. I think they all provide solid depth for me. Pretty just a well-rounded draft, I feel like.
All right, we're moving into season 77. What should we expect from the Seattle Seahawks? What's it going to take for you to go ahead and be one of what has become a strategy around here, one of our many repeat champions?
Yeah, I can only hope I live up to Cincy and Dwayne and all those guys that are going back to backs. But I'm not the kind of person that's going to come out and say I'm going to be in the Super Bowl again. I'm going to fight. NFC is friggin' amazingly tough every year. It seems like nowadays. So it'll be a battle, but I hope I can just get back in that postseason and try to make another run.
All right.
Honest.
What do you think
are now on the clock.
It's going to take, though? You really have kept your team intact. You've added some solid draft picks. Is it going to take you playing your exact same game? Is there going to have to be some adjustments?
If I would have played the same game against Dwayne and he had not RG3 at quarterback, I would have lost that game. So, it's going to take some luck to go along with playing similar to what I did last year. But, I still need some chips to fall my way.
What do you do in your off time when you're not winning Madden championships and golf championships? Because that seems to be all that you do.
the only time I have for video games really is Madden and the little golf that we play, and then I sprinkle in a little Rocket League here and there. But other than that, it's work and moving to a new house is just sucking up a lot of time.
Dwayne, Maniac, I'm going to turn it over to you.
Well, I don't know if Dwayne's still here or not, but
yeah,
Mo, you were exceptionally well through the playoffs, man. I know we had a great battle in our playoff game with our game, man. I jumped up 14-0 on you, and I don't know if I ever really get comfortable with the lead and stuff, but I did kind of go like, all right, wow, I'm up 14-0 on Mo, and you just steadily came back. I don't know if you want to kind of let me know what you thought in that game, or.
Yeah, I mean, both the game versus you and versus Dwayne, I was up against the ropes. I mean, down 14-0 to you and 10-0 at halftime to Dwayne. Both those games, I was getting a little scared. I'm not gonna lie, but I just tried to keep playing my game. I really struggle when I turn to airing it out, and that's all I do, and I don't show balance. That's when I fall apart. So I was really 100% trying to maintain that balance and keep running the ball and keep playing the game that got me where I was.
Well, it definitely showed when you got into the Super Bowl, because you'd already been in those top pressure situations and stuff, and you really took it to Cincy there and the Bengals. And again, congratulations to you.
Thanks, man. Appreciate it. Good run. Both you guys, both Maniac and Dwayne, both you guys had great runs last year.
Oh, you didn't have to qualify who you were talking about. We all know that you were not talking to me. So that was a given that you were not talking to me.
Hey, Nate, you tried.
Yeah, I tried. That's right. That's what my wife says. Good job, buddy. You tried. Just, you are one of the few guys, just thinking back over 18 years of this place, you may be the only guy who's had back-to-back Rookies of the Year. Is there any pressure to have another guy that's going to be Rookie of the Year here?
Wow, I would have never guessed that. I didn't even think that was in the realm of something that hadn't happened before. But yeah, I don't really have a rookie skill position player, so it's going to be pretty tough for me to three-peat that.
What do we expect from those two guys? Are those the dudes that you're building your team around?
Yeah, I have quite a few young guys that are going to, do pretty well for me here in the next couple seasons that could kind of hopefully carry the torch, because after this upcoming offseason, I got a lot of tough choices to make.
Do you feel like you got that Madden 19 import already on this squad?
No, probably not. Hopefully I'm going to land that next year, because I don't think I have anyone that's going to be young enough, really. Pretty much all my good players will be 24-ish by the time we import, I think, if not older.
Dwayne, you got anything for our champion?
Well, let's just go out there like this.
Are now on the clock.
No, you did have a hell of a playoff run, and like I said, you came back on two guys that a lot of people had picked to win the championship, in the Cowboys and the Falcons. And like I said, our game, you overcame a 10-0 deficit with you were on the wrong side of a 4-1 turnover ratio, and you still won the game by double digits. That shows a lot of guts playing like that. And then you go to the Super Bowl, and man, honestly, you'd already ran through such a gauntlet. The Super Bowl, you made it look easy. No disrespect to Cincy, but you made the Super Bowl look easy compared to how the NFC playoffs were.
Yeah, it's interesting. Cincy plays a very, very different game than
Yes, he does.
Dwayne, he's a totally different play style.
But yeah, it's scary to see your team get better. And like I said, you got pretty much all your guys back at a discounted rate from what I've seen, and so you should just be geared up to play again. I do think your own division is getting a lot more improved, and I think it'll be. I don't think any of them can overtake you, but I do think some of them you'll have a lot more fun in your division this year. I think some of those guys are a little more improved than they were last year.
Yeah, smashing the Cardinals. I mean, he almost beat me last year. He had, with a minute left in the fourth quarter, he was driving down to tie the game, And, obviously the attributes wise, my roster is head and above what his is right now. He just kind of came into the team. But he still almost beat me even with that roster. So that showed he's not messing around.
Well, and your quarterback should be outlawed. Let's just say that much. He might have the best cornerback duo, and Maniac can back me up on that one. I've never seen cornerbacks just stick to receivers the way his did.
My defense.
Amen.
I said, when you get the pressure you do with your front four, and then you don't get any separation on the corners, man, that's just a recipe for success. And I don't see that ending anytime soon, honestly.
Your pick, Maniac, and D-Wayne, you're coming up.
Okay.
That kind of brings me to a follow-up question for you, Mo, since we got you right before we let you go. Who do you have your eye on in your division as that next big competitor?
Old Meathead, he always makes me struggle because he plays that same game that D-Wayne and Ducks play. They're just consistent. They don't take chances. They play great defense. He's an amazing user linebacker player. So
in my opinion, the most underrated player in the league.
He really is solid. If he didn't have so much love for the 49ers and built his teams, I feel like a little more not with the 49er homer base, then I think his attributes would be a lot better, and he'd be way more dangerous than he's given credit for.
What about the NFC? My last question. Of course, the Falcons are always going to be there. The Cowboys are always going to be there. No reason to jiggle these two guys nuts, but who else in the NFC is out there that you think is going to really give you a hard time as you try to make a repeat here?
I mean, I prefer to jiggle no one's nuts.
unless you're a genital doctor, and then that's what you have to do.
That's true. Yeah, if it's going to make me millions, I'll do it, I guess.
The Bengals
I always think you and Colin, you being Nate, Colin, you guys are good players. I don't know what's happened, more recently with you guys, but last Madden, you guys always played me tough. So I think you guys could be the biggest surprises that bounce back teams. But then if the East, I mean, top to bottom is scary. You play any of those guys, you're in for a good game.
Hey, Mo, it's your pick, by the way. I didn't want to cut you off.
Oh, yeah, Mo. Thanks for being with us. Let's go do your pick, Mo. Good luck this season.
The Redskins.
All right, guys. Thanks for having me.
Later, Mo.
Yeah.
That was our chance.
This guy might be. Yeah, this guy might be like Jesus' son-in-law or something. Like he made the pick. He made the pick while he was talking to us. How's that even freaking possible? This guy's unbelievable. Oh my God, Mo! If your wife ever dies, I'll gladly go be a good house husband for you, and I'll clean and do all that stuff. I'm just trying to be entertaining here, folks. None of this is serious. Halfback Strickland goes over to the Seattle Seahawks. 6'1", good ball carrier vision guy. Ran a 4.5 240, 23 on the bench press. He'll be one of those teams that if you look on his practice squad, you might be able to snatch up a pretty good player, because I think he's going to have some really good players just sitting there waiting to be snatched up.
Yeah, I think you're right.
All right, I'm going to let you guys talk for just a second, and I'm going to try to find a player to blow my pick on.
See, did you make a pick before or after me, Dwayne? That last pick?
I think I made one right, like 2 picks after you.
Okay. See, I took the... I took that halfback. Who did you take?
Now, of course, I took a safety. But he was more of a reach. He wasn't bad by any means. Let me see if I can pull him back up real fast. He's gonna be more of a practice squad guy. His hit power is only 81. I know that's bad when that's the first stat you kick out there. But he was Zach Dodson. He's 86 feet, 89 excel, 76 tackle, 81 hit power. Could be somebody I could put on the practice squad and occasionally could be maybe a special teams guy. But at this point, he's 21 years old. Might be able to shape him up into something. So it'd be interesting one to look at in a few years.
All right, so I'm gonna I'm gonna go on a little rant here. Madden, all right, so I made my pick. A guy did 34 in the bench press, right? And so 34 in the bench press, probably high 80s, maybe low 90s, right? He has 72 strength. Frank is ranked.
What did he do? Lift 5-pound weights or what?
Frank is ranked 412th in true talent. I drafted him at 195, and Madden says, "Good pick, sir." What the fuck? Good pick. What? Can somebody explain to me how drafting a guy at 142 at 195 is a good pick? And how in the hell is he 72 strength? I don't understand. I'm flabbergasted about what has happened to my draft. I am so
5-pound weights on each hand, man. It's
I'm so mad at myself right now. He's a run stopper with 72 strength. Who's he stopping? The old folks home? I don't understand what's going on here. 63 speed, 81 acceleration, 76 power moves, not with those strength, and 78 block shed. I give up on tonight. It's been a long draft. So
maybe he has some hidden mental strength. Maybe I don't know.
I don't understand what happened. I really don't understand. Cornerback Mays. Let's see what I got on Mr. Mays. This is taking longer to find than I thought. Oh, here he is. Enric Mays. Let me just mark him. 6'1", a good man coverage guy. He ran a 4.5 840, so maybe somebody you can move at safety. And here's another reason I think you can move him at safety. He did 24 in the bench press, which according to Madden should be around 97, 98 strength. Why did you tell me you did not? Well, I don't know why. I didn't tell you anything. I didn't do it.
Why did you tell me?
Quarterback Moses. Hopefully he can part the Red Sea up in Green Bay. Roy Moses. And it's going to take a miracle because the guy's got B+ throwing on the run and B- throwing power, which means that he should be a running back. Then we're going to move to my defensive tackle that we're not going to talk. And then quarterback Rich. Jeremiah Rich is actually a quarterback with a pretty good arm that's still out there. But this is another guy with the B throwing power. So I'm not sure what these quarterbacks are going to be able to do for these teams. And then we just had another cornerback go to the Arizona Cardinals. Arizona is one of those teams that Smash has really been working hard to rebuild. I know he was super, super excited about his draft. I don't know if he's actually here. It would have been awesome to actually do like a little interview with him because he was so excited about the draft picks that he had gathered. And he really felt like he had a plan to turn this team around, and he really had invested a lot into them. And I'm just wondering if he feels like he's got there. But he takes Douglas Harrison, a 5'11 cornerback, supposed to be an undrafted guy, but a C+ man coverage type guy. Did run a 4.3 40. And so, you know what? In worst case, you're going to have a guy that can go and play special teams for you and probably do that really well off the back while you just give him an opportunity to get used to playing coverage in the OMFL. And then we're getting around to your last pick, Dwayne, or maybe not because you're going to have a late pick, but one of your last picks here with 199.
I just noticed that the guy's saying something about that wanting us to skip picks and stuff. I'm looking online like right now and stuff. There is a ton of guys on Madden right now. So
yeah, I don't. If people tell me exactly who they know is not online, I'll skip them. Other than that, hold your panties. It'll be over in just a minute. Here's a team that I want to talk about for a second. I don't have a ton to talk about other than the human that plays them, and that's what Mobley and the Jets. Mobley comes over to us from the NBC, so he plays in the community. A really super great guy. Like, he really adds a lot to the community. He's been quiet here lately, so evidently just busy with life. I know that he had an off season. He was like apologizing for not being around, but look, life comes first.
The Bears are now on the clock.
What do you think about the Jets, though? I think that it's an intriguing team that a couple of people have gotten close with, but nobody's been able to get over the hump. Do you think Mobley's maybe making some steps to get there?
Maybe if you want to take it, or I can go with it, or
You go ahead. You go ahead.
I thought he showed a lot of signs of life this year. I think he was in a lot of games, and I actually think he was on the wrong end of some games where it was a touchdown game. If I'm not mistaken, he played Cincy close down to the wire. I think he's right there. I think he's real close. I think he's going to give Kev a run for his money in that division. I wish he was here tonight to get an interview from him. I'm really interested to see what he's got in mind with that team because, man, he always is so excited about it. And he seems like he's really got a good head on his shoulders on building the Jets. And I think you're looking at a team that could be a 8 to 10 win team this season if he can get those close games to go his way this season.
Yeah, I agree with you. Any feelings on the Jets, Maniac?
I definitely think he's got a plan when it comes to building his team. He's built a pretty decent team also in the OMFL too as well. He's in the same division as Dwayne and I there in the AFC East over there as well, and he just seems like he knows what he wants to do with his offense, and he goes out and he gets those guys that play well for his type of gameplay, and he just puts it together, and he comes out to battle each and every game. He's always in. It seems like every game that he plays, so
guys,
definitely brings a lot to the table.
I drafted a guy who did 34 on the bench press and has 78 strength. Help me with that. I'm very confused by that. I'm very, very, very confused by that. Anyway, look, we're getting close to the end, fellas. I hope that you've enjoyed. I've tried to be funny tonight and entertaining. Some of these drafts start to bog down. Nothing I say is serious at all. I'm just kind of picking and giving you guys something to laugh at and cut up with. So if you want to be interviewed, now's the time to do it. What the plan kind of moving into the season here is we will sim 1, 2, and 3 of the preseason weeks. We'll stop in week 4. We'll stay for 24 hours. You can play those games. The point is to get your team at 53, get your practice squad set. When we get to that week 4, give the game a test. We need to check and see. I don't know if maybe one of you can check. I don't know if 9-minute quarters or 10-minute quarters won. It was pretty neck and neck the other day. So overall, nothing else is changing, though. Maniac has done a really great job of helping us stay on top of the sliders and find some sliders that have worked for us. I feel really good about them. We just need to see if we're going to add an extra minute or not. So you'll have 10 minutes between each one. We'll give you like 5 minutes after the draft to get ready, 10 minutes between each session to do your pre-draft or your pre-week stuff to get your training in. And then we'll move into week 4 where you'll sit. You are allowed up to 5 signings. You follow the regular waiver wire, which again Maniac created for us several seasons ago, and it's just been a real lifesaver. We will start to close those around mid-lunchtime or so tomorrow, and we'll start closing them in bunches. Like we're just not going to leave it out there very long. We'll give everybody an opportunity to see what's out there, to make their bids, and then we're going to move on and get into the regular season. So tomorrow night we'll advance into the regular season around 9 o'clock Central, and then the regular season will start tomorrow, and we'll be right back in it. And I know for me, I'm ready to play. I think it's been a great off season. It's been fun. We've had fun tonight. These are always one of the funnest things that we do, and we got to stream this live. I don't know exactly how the stream came out. It seems like it stayed fairly healthy. It's went up and down a few different times, but overall it's been fun to do this, and I thought it's been a very much a success.
You're 10 minutes to lead, 9 minutes right now, 14 to 12.
Yeah, so
26 votes in.
So there you have it. What we'll do is we will set to 10 minutes. We'll try it in the preseason, and then I'll just get the board's vote. When it's that close, I just got to let the board choose. I figured it would be a 50-50. If it comes down to where like guys are like, you know what, 10 minutes is too long, I'll quit. Like we're not gonna let anybody quit over 1 minute. So look, I think overall it's just gonna be a 50-50 split. Let's try it in that week 4 of the preseason. See what people feel. I personally think it's gonna be too long, but you know what, we may just go that way. Give it a season, let people try it, and if they hate it, we can always go back. It's such a minor change. It won't be a major thing.
Yeah, from my experience with the 10-minute, I have played my son and I have played a couple games offline and stuff in the 10-minute quarters. We were just trying it out and stuff. And it comes down to, are you going to be passing, 70% of the game and not run? If you get two teams that are doing the same thing like that and stuff, you're going to run into a game that's going to run longer. But, a game like with, say, for instance, Dwayne and I both have similar philosophies with running the ball. You're probably not going to notice any difference at all in the time frame. So, it's just going to come down to what your offensive philosophy is and how many stops are in the game.
I play both of you, and there are those games where you guys have those really good drives, and as soon as you touch the ball, there's 2 minutes left in the first quarter, and you're like, holy cow, I just touched the ball for the first time. So, I'm open to it. What I'm not interested in is an hour and 20, an hour and a half game.
Right.
That's just, there's nothing worse, and I worry for those blowouts. Sometimes Madden has blowouts, and
yes,
bro, there's nothing worse to be down 35-7 in the second quarter and know that you still have another hour to go of that. It is the worst. The only thing that I think, if we go 10-minute quarters, that I may allow to be is if the game gets out of hand and both coaches agree, and both have to agree with a chat as a screenshot in case anyone says, no, I didn't agree, we'll allow you to turn on the quick clock or whatever, that run the clock, right? And you can just hurry up, because I'm telling you, there's been some games where it's been Dwayne, right? He gets up on you, he causes you to throw some picks. It's 35 to 10 early in the third quarter, and you're like, this game is over. I don't want to do this for 45 more minutes. This sucks. So I don't know. That we can get creative and find something that works for everybody. I just don't want to have those really stupid long games.
Yeah.
It's been fun. So give me your thoughts, guys. Nobody else wants to be interviewed. Smash has been over here like comic relief in the chat, it seems. What do you think? What do you think about tonight? What do you think about the draft? Maybe give me a winner of the draft, or maybe a top team. I know Dwayne hates to I'm not calling people losers, but who's the teams that you thought did really well and the teams who have not done well?
I'll let you go first, Dwayne.
Well, I mean, I think I would take the easy route when I say that. I would just go ahead and unanimously say I think Mo had a great draft.
Absolutely.
But if I had to go another route, and I'm just looking over right now, some of the things some of these teams did. I think one team that didn't, I don't want to say didn't, but I think one team that did play well or draft well, I think the Colts. I think as a whole, they didn't hit a home run with a lot of they didn't make that big splash. But I just think they added a lot of depth this draft, a lot of stuff, because the Colts were kind of
the Ravens are now.
I think they had a lot of holes, and I think instead of going big on 1 or 2 spots, I think Big Hurt went on a lot of spots and filled a lot of gaps that he needed to fill.
Mm-hmm.
And I played Big Hurt this year, and Big Hurt's not very far away from competing in that division or winning that division. And I think that division's got to wake up and realize that there's a Big Hurt coming for him. And I think we all remember when he played with the Cowboys, and
he's always been
even with the Chiefs, he was solid. And I think he's going to build this team into a hell of a team. And like I said, I think he had a really good underrated draft tonight.
Before we go to you, Maniac, because I definitely want to hear your thoughts. I just looked at the recording. We've only been live for like 2 hours and 45 minutes. So this draft to me has felt pretty slow, but in reality, it hasn't been. We're bogged down a little bit here, but we'll still be like right at 3 hours or so. If I was skipping some of these later picks, which I'll probably skip Brady because I know he's not here, we could be under 3 hours. That's not too bad.
No,
that's not bad at all. Yeah, as far as my look on the draft and stuff, obviously, like Dwayne said, the unanimous winner on this one is Mo from having his 1,400 picks in the top 5 rounds. But I think the one that I have to question is Brady with the Jags, because obviously, he missed some of the offseason stuff. Excuse me. And then he spent a lot of money trying to get back his linebacker, and I don't think he's been online a whole lot for this draft. He may have been online for a first couple, but I didn't see any splashes from him. And he's been able to compete in that division, but I'm not sure if this was like a kind of a make and break year for him in the off season to really compete, or if he's still going to stay in that mediocre stage that where he's just going to be kind of there on the cusp, but not able to get over the hump. And it's to me, I think he didn't really do himself any favors in this draft, but it's remain to be seen. But to me, I think he was one of the losers here so far.
Look, the Seahawks did an amazing job tonight. I think also Massimo and the Texans did a really great job. We talked about him early. I mean, all of his picks seemed to be super early, and he hit them all out of the park, it seemed. Now, I don't remember every pick in detail, but it seemed overall that he was getting way more hits than misses. And that was already a pretty young team that just needed a few little pieces. So those are the two guys that I thought did really well. There's been some teams that have been quiet. Not that I think that they've done good or bad. They've just been quiet, and that is the San Francisco 49ers and the Minnesota Vikings. I just expected to hear more from them. I think the Redskins are a team that you could put in the winner list. I think the Oakland Raiders are a team that you could put in the winner list. And then there's some teams I think that didn't do so hot. I didn't like the Bears' early picks. He may have gotten better as it went on, but I didn't like his early picks. Chaotic knows I love him as a human. He's my guy. I just didn't like his picks. I thought that he reached on a lot of opportunities. He took the fullback super, super early in the second round. I just felt like there was more bang for his buck there. I think that there's still fullbacks on the board right now that would be just as good or very close as being just as good as the guy that he took in the second round. You could get a more impactful player there. I also I think that the Jags, I just think that he missed. I think that he had a terrible offseason, and look, he could prove me wrong. He's Brady. He's a great player. He's a great dude. He's just busy, and none of us ever get to see him anymore. He used to be like super active years ago, but he's just not because he's busy with life. He's a coach. He's an actor. He does like a bunch of stuff. I just think that this was a miss of an off season, and I don't know. This is going to hurt him, in my opinion. The money for the middle linebacker, the missed draft picks, I think it's just all going to hurt him. And then I'm not making this up. I truly feel like I had the worst draft. And I think it perfectly pinpointed that I drafted a guy that did 34 in the bench press and a 78 strength. I missed on every pick after the first round, and I needed some solid picks. I needed some defensive line help. I needed some defensive tackles, some defensive end help in my 3-4. I needed, some other kind of offensive line help, just kind of be backups or to be solid players. And it just didn't work out. My last two drafts were pretty solid. First draft was actually really, really good, but I crapped the bucket on this one. This one was pretty bad tonight. I think by far I'm the biggest loser of tonight. I had the worst draft, hands down. I don't think anybody can even come close to it. Pepper's another team I think that has a really good draft. We didn't talk a ton about him, but Pepper had a lot of picks, and he seemed to make them count. Pittsburgh Steelers seemed to make his pick count. There was a couple misses in there, but overall, he seemed to make his picks count. I think it's been a great draft, man, and some guys did really, really well in what I still think is the best draft we've ever seen.
Yeah, I think there was a lot of talent that at first I know there was a lot of guys like leading up to the draft. They're all like, where's the talent at? I think this draft's horrible and stuff. But
really,
I seen it in the chat. Like, where's the players at and stuff. And now since the draft is unfolded, and everybody's seeing all these players coming off the board that are really strong, I think now they're kind of going like, kind of scratching their head, like, where did we miss that? I know I've seen several guys post that in the chat, and I knew that the offensive line, the guard, was going to be strong because I was actually looking into that really close because I needed to get at least one guard, knowing I was going to lose Zach Martin and stuff. But I think cornerback had some decent guys come out that we hadn't seen in the last couple of drafts. I think there were several that were decent, and then also I think wide receiver was another stout
really
draft.
fast for sure. Like
yeah,
we'll see how this class plays out, but definitely adding a lot of speed to the league.
Yeah, and I think that had been kind of missing the last couple of drafts. So I know everybody was all like, "Where's the speed at? Where's the speed at?" But yeah, I think there was a lot of speedy guys, especially in the DBs and the wide receivers. Not a whole lot of superstar guys coming out, but from what I saw from guys posting pictures and stuff, and those two positions seem to be a lot of young guys with raw talent that could be something here in the next season or two. So we'll see.
Hey guys, kind of as a reminder, as we're going to toss this over to D. Wayne here in just a second. Maniac, you got a pick that's coming up just as a heads up. Look, try to play your preseason game. I know they don't count, but it allows us to test some sliders. It allows us to test the time. And like some guys, it matters. It matters to me. Like I want to get a feel for my team. I hate week one. Like you think you have something, then you get in, you're like, these guys aren't playing as good, or this guy's playing really good. I wish I would have started him, right? Like if a guy wants to play a preseason game, go ahead and play. Like we've had a little bit of a break here. Play your games or give him the CPU games. CPU games suck in general, but still, like if a guy wants to play, make a little bit of an effort, fellas. Let the guy play. Go play at your team. Get a feel for them. See what those draft picks look like, and just kind of let that other guy get the opportunity to play with this team if he wants to play. If you play the Saints, I'll tell you right now, I want to play with my team. I just like to get a feel. I just want to see what they feel like. It's one thing to see them on paper. It's another thing to actually get on the field and see what they actually feel like from top to bottom. So, D. Wayne, what do you think about the kind of what's left? I think the defense, in my opinion, has been picked completely clean. There's really nothing left in the defense to pick. I think there's still some offensive linemen that'll go undrafted. There'll be some pretty decent battles there. I think there may be one or two players that have disappeared off of our boards that may be in free agency that guys are going to want to take a look at. But overall, I think it's been a solid draft. What do you think about everything?
Well, like I said, I still think you got a couple more. There's a couple more positions. I'm not trying to speak too much. There's a couple receivers left that are solid. There's a couple left tackles that are solid. There's a really solid right outside linebacker who I couldn't tell you he's going to be a great player, but he just has some stuff that I like about him. I think he could be a solid guy. There's a few more picks, guys. Don't throw these picks away. These are if you see somebody, there's some people left that if they don't make your squad, they'd be a really solid practice squad guy to try and deal with. Yeah, I think as a whole, we had a really good draft. I think some teams, there's a lot of excitement for the draft, and I think which that means there's even a lot more. There's even more excitement going into the season because, like you said, everybody's ready to play their game. Clyde just actually messaged me and asked if we wanted to play our game tonight, and I probably will. We go ahead and knock our preseason game out.
I thought you said Clyde. I was like, who the hell is Clyde? We don't have a Clyde in our league.
Well, me and him have had like a constant. I don't know how it works out. The Falcons and Titans play every preseason the fourth week. I think since I've been here, me and him have had a preseason rivalry every year.
That's funny.
And now in the OMFL 2, we get to play each other during the regular season because I think I've only played him once or twice in the OMFL since we've been here in the regular season. So it's pretty neat getting to play him. But I think as a whole, it's been pretty good. I've been, my draft, the way I like to draft is different than most people. I'm a very unique person who I like to draft. But I'm really excited about the players I've got, especially my two safeties. We'll merge them into the Dakota system. And I got a punter who is going to replace my punter who left out, and he was pretty solid. I keep waiting for Matt Bryant, who turned 46 years old, to retire, but he just keeps playing.
That's crazy.
I think I have the oldest player in the league playing on my team, and he's still 93 kick power. It's ridiculous.
That's hilarious.
But I mean, I think it's been a great night. I think you've seen a lot of action. Now Dawson, he did say he was busy tonight. Said he got caught up and he couldn't get on. We're still going to hold it against you. Nate's going to bring it up every PPL for the first half of the season, every time.
You're making me sound bitter, and I don't appreciate that. It's a joke. He got quiet. I was like, wait a second, did he take me serious there?
No seriousness.
Yeah,
unless you unplug on him.
Yeah, I mean, look, hey, it's not my fault that you unplugged to keep your one-loss season going. So that's you. Look, listen. If we go to Burger King, you got to wear that crown. That is your crown to wear. It is not mine. It's your pick coming up. Maniac, did we find a diamond in the rough with the wide receiver?
Well, I thought I may have, but I'm a little bit disappointed. His acceleration wasn't quite what I was anticipating.
I like how that you were anticipating something with a 7th round 28th pick.
Yeah. I'd almost pulled the trigger for this guy earlier, but I was like, nah, I'll wait.
But those make you feel good when you wait and then you still getting later and you're like, oh, okay, he wasn't that great.
Yeah. So I mean, it's again 7th pick. Yeah, 91 speed, doesn't have any route running. 63, 83 catch, but his acceleration is not what I was looking. 86 on the acceleration, catching traffic 84, spectacular catch 82, jump 92, and awareness is low, obviously for a guy this late. But
the Bengals are now on the clock.
He might be a good possession receiver, somebody down in the red zone. Maybe I can work in, but it sure is tough that acceleration being that low.
I've never heard somebody talk so long about the 28th pick in the 7th round. It's pretty amazing. Look, guys, it's all over.
Love it.
We're at Mr. Irrelevant. It is time to get into the offseason. Let me be serious for a second. Look, these things I could be pretty long and tedious when they're 3-4 hours long. So, yeah, I do joke around a lot. None of this is serious. I'm just trying to be entertaining since we have a lot of time to burn here. And I try to take it really serious, too, right? I try to give you guys good information about picks and players and interviews and whatnot. But seriously, thank you to Dwayne and to Maniac. Of course, to Priest, who's always like the first guy here. Like, I love his enthusiasm and his passion. Priest, you need to come join the golf again. We actually took away all money buy-in, so the tournaments are free. But anyway, I'm throwing that out to Priest. For Mo, who joined us, I know that a lot of guys were chatting about it. I hope that they enjoyed the live stream, but thank you guys especially for all of your hard work, to all of the board like Chaotic and Colin and well, not Dawson because he didn't show up tonight, but everybody but Dawson. Like everybody just works so hard, and I do too, right? Like I try to be the hardest working guy here, but everybody works so hard for this league and this community, and it feels like with the addition of these new leagues that are starting that we've got a lot of momentum and people are watching our stuff. And I just want to say thank you to that. Thank you guys for being on the draft show. And it's over. And a 2-hour and 57-minute draft. And we got there and it is all over. So thank you guys for being on with me tonight and rambling and listening to me have a good time.
I enjoyed it.
All right,
thanks for having us on.
Absolutely. Let's get us to the off season. I'm going to turn the stream off. We'll give you about 5 minutes or so here to do what you need to do, look at your team, whatever, and then we'll move right into this preseason week 1. Give you 10 minutes, and we'll get through the rest of this. We'll see you at the next Press Pass Live. Peace.
Later,
guys.